think we're live now. Maybe.
I'm excited about being live. I'm excited about being visible.
Uh-oh. This is gonna be bad. Alright.
I'm excited about this coffee that I've not started yet. That was the
You
plunging noise.
you haven't had the coffee,
I mean, I've got the coffee,
but you haven't had
and
it
now
yet.
I have the coffee.
Okay. Very professional.
Yeah. Um. So yeah, let's start. Um. To be honest, I could have done with some more time just chatting shit.
Yeah. I've also realized that my plan to work Discord in is sort of okay, now it works, but now I can't see the stream. So if
Oh
anything
God.
happens, it's fine.
So we're just like it's go time. There's no adjustment. Like
Look,
hands off the PC.
this is your fault, Ollie. I want you to know that.
How is it my fault? Well, it's my fault for buying a webcam.
No. Your fault for being late, so there's no time to do adjustments.
We had time to do adjustments. We could have just like delayed everything. It would have been fine.
Yeah.
Um,
It's too late. Too late now. We're live.
have you posted our amazing shill messages?
Yes. Oh, I forgot to post my amazing show messages on Twitter, but it's fine.
See, well, yeah, no one's following you on Twitter. Uh,
Look, there's two whole people following my Twitters, right? I have a dude who I think watched my artifact stuff, and All
mm.
Systems Go, who are doing a Burning Wheel stream.
Oh, them, yeah, yeah. They're doing Magical Academy,
Magical
aren't they?
Academy.
They're doing Harry Potter. I kind of watched about 10 minutes of their opening thing, and I was like, oh my God, I can't deal with opening things. It's just like it's too complex.
Mm.
And there's too many like you ask a question and then three people give different answers, then like 5 minutes later you decide what actual answer you're using. Um, yeah.
Yeah, like
So I'll go back and watch part of episode one, see if it's good.
I really enjoyed the part where like the doors all close and everybody just starts going into panic mode. It's a great part.
Huh?
Yeah, you'll see. You'll see
Oh, in the episode
in
one.
in
Right, right.
episode one. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So what are we here to do again?
We're here to play Burning Wheel. Um,
Got some beliefs set up.
that's good. Can we see the beliefs on screen? Do you want to
Yeah.
check?
Look, checking is hard. Okay. And yes, 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 we are. I've
Um,
done this
okay.
right. I've used window capture like a smart person.
Okay. So yeah, let's go through your beliefs.
Alright, first one is about finding the Bud of Lotus and taking revenge on them by convincing the priest that they need to let me into the vault where they are. They've claimed that they are, right? The Bud of
Mm,
Lotus is like the secret group
yeah.
who's saying like, "Hey, we're in this vault. Come see us there." And we'll see if they're there or not. Maybe they haven't
Mm.
gotten in yet. And this is all just like a big scam. The second one is about paying my debts to the assemblage society I'm part of, and doing so by discovering the source of like there's a plague afflicting the nearby refugees in the city.
Mm.
There's that, and then the last one is like just a basic fate mine philosophical belief about how like in a deterministic world the only thing that matters is knowledge. Everything else is merely a
Okay.
means to it.
Okay. So the question is, where exactly did we leave off last time? In terms of where were we positioned? Think you just finished. I think you just finished talking to the priest about the manuscript that seems to have changed since you handed it in to them for translation. And you've got a copy yourself now and have taken it away. Um,
Yeah. We left off there. I think like what we said was the priest uh, was busy or something for not 2 or 1 day, and Suria was being like angry and annoyed at the priesthood in general.
Yeah. Uh,
So I think a place we could just jump into is the sort of the day after we do the argument immediately.
yeah. So I agree. I think so. They said this is the scribe's day today. We're way too busy. Tomorrow's the farmer's day, so we're going to be even busier.
Easier.
Um, the day after that, you can come back and visit us. Um, yeah, I think um, there's not much else that goes on. You spend those days. I guess you spend those days going through the manuscript yourself,
Yeah.
as much as you can.
That's my
Um,
plan, right? Like spend some time going through manuscript prep so that
mm,
when it gets to the actual date, like I have things to talk about and use to share.
yeah. Okay. Um, good. So 2 days later, you make your way back up towards the center of the city. Um, I think um, I think in the morning you hear a rumor that the that Etan is very angry. He's been sending there's been patrols of soldiers going all over the city, knocking on doors, um, asking after a a thief known as the Night Magpie. They're a semi legend. They're a figure who's you may have heard of before. They've made themselves semi famous by conducting tomb robberies in the past, in different cities, um,
Hmm.
and it seems like they are being accused of having stolen some documents, or broken into Etan's mansion.
Okay, interesting. Like they're basically just famous for tomb robberies, effectively.
Yeah, I think they come from a city quite far in the south on an island, and they were famous for like they'd appear in a city on the mainland, um, break into a tomb, carry off some valuables from it, um, and then would either like either make themselves very visible at some point in the next couple of weeks, just strutting around town saying like, "Yes, I did it," um, or they would um, make a big show of presenting these stolen jewels and jewelry to their own home temple, a month or so later.
So they're kind of
So
like a known face.
they're kind of a known face, but like it's it's a it's an ostentatious and like semi costumed figure. Like they're known to have like they wear a mask and they have dyed purple eyebrows with like feathers in them. Um, and
So
they
they're a
yeah,
superhero.
pretty like they're ostentatious, right? They're it's a type of I think aspects of their garment, like as a foreigner, you kind of see how aspects of their garments are similar to the way that temple ceremonial dress up works, right?
All right.
You have a headdress, you have like a cloak that is reminiscent of your ancestors. This guy is doing his own thing, right?
Okay. All right. I hear you, but also like I'm not too concerned about this right now.
No,
Ain't
that's
my
fine.
documents. Shall we? Okay, so I think I do want like a role here, right? I want to examine the documents. I want to set up a link test
Yep.
for the actual experience. So
Hang on. Book. 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 There we are. Is this a read test?
it's not. I've got ancient languages. Never going to be a read test. I'm gonna fork and read though, so
Read or before a book. Um, yeah, this is a stupid game sometimes. Quite often.
kind of this.
Languages is under ancient, or is it? Yes, it is.
There's an ancient languages, but it then sends you to the foreign
It
languages
does.
section.
It just sends you to foreign languages, and foreign languages gives us helpful advice.
Hopefully it does.
1, 2,
Uh,
3, 4. Yeah, I think this might be. I think this might be an ob 5 test. I could call it an ob 5 test based on this. Like looking at this, you start ob 1, then you go +2 for formal / ritualistic concepts. Sorry, +1 for formal ritualistic, +2 for philosophical / abstract, and +1 for dead language. Right.
hmm.
So I could call it 5. I think I'm not entirely sure on this. I think when I first made you make the test to take it off the walls, I called it ob 4.
Hmm.
I think it's fair to call it one higher than it's fair to call it higher than that, because this is a more detailed translation that we're looking for here, right? We're not just looking to translate this to a standard where you know what it says. We're looking to translate this to a standard where you can either use it to prove what you're saying is right, right?
Yep.
Like argue back on him against the religious interpretation um, of the
The
text,
writings, yeah.
um, or show that it's like obviously been tampered with by finding mistakes in the language, right? Saying like this is clearly a modern construction. Um, they like we know that this type of bird was imported into the country. You can't use it in a metaphor 1,000 years ago. There weren't any, right? Um,
All right. Here is what I'm going to do then. I am going to. Well, actually, what's the failure?
um, I'm not sure if I can come up with a failure that's particularly super interesting. I think you won't be able to prove that it's fake just from pointing at the text.
Okay.
Um,
But like, is there like a sense that I have that it is fake? Or like something's
um,
off?
okay, I mean, I think actually let's what we should do is you should limit or state more clearly what it is you're looking for.
Alright, so what she's basically doing is like, I'm not specifically looking for like, here's the error. Right? What
Mm.
Suria is actually doing is like, okay, I'm going through this text in fine detail, I'm combing through it, I'm making notes, I'm preparing myself for the moment where I've got to go up to the priest and tell him, hey, look at this. You're wrong, I'm right. So what I want from this is basically an advantage I can leverage in my conversations with the priest.
I guess maybe flat failure is is the sensible option. Then you have it like if it spins the other way, like um. Yeah, if it spins the other way, it's he has an advantage because he's done a good job, or someone has done a good job of faking this document.
Alright. So I've got tree in ancient languages. Going to fork in astrology, which I no doubt is like part of these texts
Oh,
and scratchings.
absolutely. Right. Absolutely.
I am going to fork in ancient history for context. Like you said, some birds don't exist in particular era. I am going to fork in symbology. And so here's the thing, I have the odds on language. I think I spent 2 points on it.
Yeah, no,
This is
I feel like that's a valid fork here. Like we made you spend the 2 points on it because of a semi-hard commitment to saying like people should actually have to expend effort to be able to speak every language in the setting, and there should be multiple languages in the setting. So, um, yeah, one of like you speak every language available in this city. Not everyone does. So the people from like the Chandrapur immigrants, um, those nobles you were talking to yesterday, right? Dianenku, Dianenku definitely speaks both languages.
yeah,
Malati
that's all.
Diang also speaks both languages. Um, like your contact from the assembly speaks both languages. Everyone else probably not, right? Though you've
Yeah.
met a decent degree of the people who aren't merchants who are from Chandrapur who speak both languages.
Hmm. Alright. Base obstacle 5. It's gonna be so easy. I'm not
Yeah.
sure what I'm worried about. Ah, no
Okay.
sixes. Pretty difficult test. I'll take it.
Um.
I think maybe what this looks like is like she takes all those notes, she prepares all like the argument she's about to make.
Mm,
And but she doesn't spot like the big or like the more obvious clue
yeah.
that should have tipped her off.
Yeah.
She assumes this is the original. Right?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So you make your way back up through the city, and I think as you're going up, you see yourself some of these. You see a group of soldiers in. They're wearing like one of them's wearing an officer's jacket, and there's two others wearing like ordinary jackets. They're holding the basic musket-like guns that are common in Otson. And they're coming out of a house, looking irritated. You see them walking out along the street down to the next house.
Hmm.
Keep going on your way. Um, up at the temple concourse, things are quite peaceful. The workers, the priests, and the servants of the temples are taking the opportunity of this day to clean up a bit after the two major days of worship on the last 2 days. Um, I think the nobles probably come past in the afternoon or evening rather than in the morning because they don't have to wait so long, so they can just come at their convenience.
Yeah.
Um, going up to the temple of the scribes that you went to before, you're greeted immediately on the door by the same acolyte who met you last time. He bows deeply to you, and asks you to follow him um, through to where the high priest is waiting.
Yeah, she doesn't say much. She just follows.
Um, yeah, when you come in when you come into the room, Quetzina has already laid out this text across the table, and he's clearly been doing his own work on it as well. He has his own notes sat down in front of him. Um, he waves the table and asks you if you'd like anything to drink.
I expect this will be a long day. So yes.
Would you prefer a tea? I believe we have some fresh juice as well.
Juice will do.
He nods to the acolyte, and they disappear. Um, he takes a moment. Um, I think are you holding your notes as well? Like,
Yeah, I think like
yeah,
she's starting like take them out from the bag, put them aside, set up, you know?
yeah. And he looks at them and he said, "Ah, forgive me. I thought we'd be working through this together to some extent, but if you've already gone back through things,
Well, it certainly helps to have a second opinion on issues.
now that you've had a little longer to dwell on the problem, has there been any? Um, have you found anything different from what you originally thought?
Have I? I mean, there's a
Uh,
question there, right?
I mean, are you admitting the fact that you haven't like I don't know. I think you've said you've decided that you haven't found the main thing that's telling you that it's fake, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Like I think
Like,
we both know, like we've already established that you don't think this is the same document, but you can't really
find
prove
it.
it. You
Yeah.
can't really prove it.
Which
Um,
is, yeah, but like the fundamental thesis here is like, my question is in the time I've done my research in, have I like found anything which really just like changes my mind on this? Because on the first read, I figured this was the case, right? Like I figured
yeah,
this is not a tomb, this is and
yeah.
having gone through it again, what does
Having
that
gone
look
through
like?
it again, this is definitely like um, there's less stuff in there about alchemy. Um, like a lot less stuff in there about alchemy. Um, but the fundamental identifiers that he gave last time for this being a tomb um, remain metaphorical, right? So not being part of the like not having been trained on like Ottoman doctrine, you're not in a great position to to argue that the interpretation of those isn't correct. But like all of the stuff that you would have been an expert on in this document has like become less emphasized, right?
Hmm. Okay. No, I tend to find that my view remain in favor on this.
Hmm.
I understand, of course, a religious reading of a document is separate and different from a anthropological.
In that case, will you take me up on my offer? I'm quite happy to spend the day with you going through this document, line by line if necessary.
It is why I'm here.
Very good. Um, will you find it uncomfortable if one or two of my acolytes are asked in to help on occasion? There's aspects to this text that, although I am familiar with the ancient language, I have not made it my particular study, and there's a few here who have uh,
I see.
even more detailed knowledge than I do.
No, that will be all right.
Yeah, he nods again, and he, like when the acolyte comes back, he asks him to fetch someone else, and they came back with a third person. Um, and I think the day continues after this fashion, right? All three of you sit down and taking the text page by page, um, you begin working through it. The the language expert tends to try and jump ahead, right? They read out like a whole line. They go word by word for different meanings, um, and then Quetzina will, after he's finished going through, like Quetzina will take a moment to just interpret that for you, and then like lay out his interpretation for you, and then ask you if you have any questions or any alternatives. Um,
Hmm. And I think like Suria's gone through the document twice already, so like
yeah, yeah.
she is effectively watching for the phrases or the lines in which crucial like details are put upon. Like there
Yeah.
will always be in a document some lines which are less important, which are a bit flowery, or like this does not contain the sort of context that is needed. So
Mm,
she's already gone through it, highlighted certain lines in this document, which is like, okay, I need to make sure that my interpretation wins through on these bits of this article.
mm.
And so like she'll let some things slide and then like really just spend a lot of time on other things.
Okay. Um, yeah. So I guess you're still trying to push them towards the idea that like that their interpretation of this is wrong, right?
Yes,
Yes,
for sure.
for sure. Um, so I think what we could do is make this into a versus test.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I think they're using doctrine and ancient languages, and then related skills, um, to attempt to convince you of the um, the basis of what they're saying, right?
Right. And so like success here is me managing to convince them that this is not a
Um,
tomb, this is a vault.
and and success here is it becomes very clear to both of you that this document has some issues, right?
Right. We as we come through it, we realize like, hang on, this doesn't quite fit with the rest of the language. Uh,
Yeah, like I think that as you get through the document, the like if you succeed, that's going to be clear, right? Um, and like what fallout is from that, we'll discover.
okay.
But like the success here is we still prove that document is a fake. So I'm going to be giving them 5 dice from Doctrine, 2 helping dice from Ancient Languages, a bonus dice for the previous failure to find anything in your own work,
Mm-hmm.
and then I think I'm going to add 1 forking dice from the from Quetzina's own knowledge of the ancient language,
Okay.
and then 1 from his own knowledge of astrology.
Wait, hang on. This is an interpretation of ancient languages, though,
Hmm?
not doctrine.
No, but he's like the interpretation and the doctrine style, like the doctrine, like that's the thing that covers up all of the errors, right? That's the thing that lets him go from the guy who's helping you both get the accurate and fuller translation, to like a version where you say, okay, this has got problems, this hasn't got problems.
Okay, so it's sort of like what he's actually doing is using the assumptions, like pulling in assumptions from the religion itself as like,
Yeah, like he's shoring it up as they go, as you go through it. He's shoring up the places that seem a bit sketchy, and he's adding interpretation, and he's making it really like he's trying to argue to you that this document genuinely does say that this is a tomb, right? Like
all right.
that's what he is attempting to extract from this conversation.
Do I
He's
catch that?
yeah, I don't think, like, I think this is very obviously what he's doing, right?
Okay.
But he doesn't think it's faked, right? He doesn't
Yeah.
particularly have any reason to believe that
It's
this
just
is
that he
faked.
believes it's true, and like where the bits are sort of off, he's like,
Yeah,
well, actually, like this is the this is why it's written like that, or this is why it's put
yeah.
in such a way.
Interestingly, I've just realized I'm also going to give you 2 bonus dice from help from the guy translating ancient languages, because there's no reason that that guy isn't helpful to you as well, right? And it, it feels odd to pass by dice both directions. I could just pass no dice either direction, but I think it makes sense. So that's 8. So 7, 8, 10. 10 dice. Oh my lord.
So
Um,
okay. I'm going to be rolling ancient languages once
ancient
more.
languages. Um, I feel you could argue for research. Um,
Research is kind of like the looking at of, well,
collating coherent reports, and on Ob 5 and 6, it's deciphering a handwritten monograph about an obscure subject and deciphering a monograph about a heretofore unknown subject. So like,
well, that
I
does
feel
fit.
like it does fit. I feel like the role beforehand makes sense on ancient languages because it's looking for
Specifically at the ancient language and reading it and translating it.
yeah,
And now this is sort of like the
like
we've done the legwork, and now we're sort of
yeah.
making meaning out of it, and like
As
doing the
someone
summary.
who once studied like Latin, I've got to say, I am thinking about how difficult it would be for me as like a very basic Latin scholar, right? Very very base, to work out if someone who was actually much better at it had made a fake passage of Latin text, and I think I would never manage, right? I think that would just never ever happen. I would, it would, yeah, unless they'd made some like really shocking mistake. Um, yeah,
All right.
aside. Um,
Oh, that's a good aside. I'm not sure if it's an aside though. I think there's. All right. I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna fork in ancient languages. I'm gonna fork in rhetoric. I'm going to fork in astrology. Oh shit! I forgot if astrology was one. No, it's not one. So the first dice in the roll will be astrology.
yeah.
And symbology. Take 2 dice from my good friend. Shit, I did that wrong. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Okay. So I've got a dice from ancient languages. I've got a dice. I'm adding rhetoric because I think as we continue, like this also becomes like a debate on terms, a debate on ideas, and not just like a pure reading of a text. And to some extent, any sort of reading on a text uh, is like
You're
brings
countering
in
his points.
ideas.
So
Yeah, like I'm
he says
countering the
he says
doctrine here.
something like this is clearly like he goes back to his point about like this is clearly a tomb name. This is clearly a name given um to the dweller in the tomb in order to not use their given name. And you respond as like actually how do we know that that practice actually was that old? Like maybe this temple was way older than that practice was. How old are the temples that use that practice? And he's like, well, they're about um, we know that there are temples that date from after the fall of our civilization that use that practice. And you're like, well, there we go. Um,
And as well, crucial, like it is kind of out of place for a religion so focused on the veneration of the ancestors to like
have switched
specific
completely.
strike somebody out of that tradition.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Right, I've got 11 dice. I'll be fine. Base obstacle 7. That's easy. Easy. Oh my god. I got a 6 though. I might
You
as
got a
well spend
6.
it. Here comes Ollie. Are you ready? Two successes. 4 total. Alright.
Um, yeah, so I think they like you work through most of the morning and part of the afternoon, and he reaches this point where he's kind of wrapping up his case, and he just says, "Okay, so in let's just take a quick look through everything, just just in summary. So these documents were taken by you. This is a rubbing directly from the walls of this tomb. You handed them to the General's Academy, who handed them to me, and we have both worked on them since then. And I think it is quite clear that the place you went to is to be treated differently from this place, and from the other temples. Suria, I am I'm very sorry. This must be a hard blow for you. It's always difficult to adjust when we find that we're wrong about something.
Yeah, like Surya is like definitely still running like she's in the mode where she knows that she's not succeeding here and is still
Mm,
like thinking through strategies, but also at the same time is just pretty angry
mm.
about this whole thing. But like she tries to take it with some modicum of grace. And like yeah, nods to him. Hmm. I will have to consider this further. Oh, Ollie?
Yeah.
When did he get those documents?
Um, so you went to see. I haven't been tracking the calendar as well as I should have been. Um, you went to see Etan and passed the documents across to Zakatli. Zakatli passed those documents across to him. I think it was a couple of days after that you
Yeah.
because you
So
waited
so
several you waited 3 days
the
for
reason
the established contact to meet you, right? So he's had there's a time gap there, right? Yeah.
The
Um,
main gap I'm concerned with or like asking about is the one between a Catley and a priest.
yeah, I guess. Do you ask him about that? Like,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. He says, he brought it to me the day before you came to visit.
curious.
How so?
How long does it take to make a copy?
I mean, it took him like less than a day, right? Because he had a copy ready to give
Yes.
you. Yeah.
The general, appears to be a man of some belief or faith. I'm just surprised he would take so long to get the documents to you.
He didn't mention that he when he'd received them from you.
It had been a few days.
The general is a very busy man. He has to manage a great deal of important matters in this city. I'm not very familiar with them myself. The high priests of the other temples have more dealings with the business of the city.
Hmm. Yeah, I think what Suria is like trying to do here is sort of obliquely imply something about the situation, right? Like,
Yeah.
yes, he is the general, of course, but he also has aides for this kind of thing. Hmm.
I think the priest takes a moment and then says, Suria, I think it's important not to let your injured pride run away with you here. The general is he's an upstanding member of the community. He's protected this town for years.
Hmm.
Etan left him here to defend us, and he succeeded. That's why that's why he's been left in such a position of responsibility after the war.
Very well. I thank you for the time you have given me. It has been enlightening. May I keep that copy?
Certainly, if of course, if there's if there's any more help you need or any advice that we can give you, I am completely at your service.
You have my thanks.
Please just I want to don't just go don't go to the general with any wild accusations, please. It will be it would be easier if you just left this for a few days, think things through, and if you want, we can go to the general together and just talk through calmly, and he will have some very good reason, I'm sure, as to why it took him so long to pass the documents through to us.
Oh, I
Um,
have never been one to act without evidence. I'm sure we will meet again.
Yeah, he bows to you again,
Yeah, she
and
does that.
his acolyte shows you out of the building.
I think she's probably like furiously tapping at her bag as she leaves.
She's like got her notes open. She's like chucks the notes she made originally away.
Hmm. Okay. Let's see. I think I'm gonna leave that for now
Mm.
and shift gears over to the plague.
Yeah.
I'm gonna need some. The assemblage hasn't contacted me back yet, and I'm gonna have to talk to people who actually know spycraft. So put that in the back burner. I'm heading towards the refugee camps then.
Sorry, what are you waiting for on like assemblage contacting you back?
So the money, but
Yes.
also more importantly, I need to talk to him about a cuddling.
Yeah. Um yeah, I think playing out some scene like you going to actually do something other about the plague makes some sense.
Yeah,
I think probably you've spent a bit of time wandering to the refugee district and perhaps asking questions in the 2 days before this big research get up. Um,
yeah, like Tepiani like falls in line behind her as like as like she leaves the temple and heads towards like where we need to go.
yeah. Um, yeah. So heading down through the city. Once again, this is the bustle and mid-afternoon final round on the markets. Um, there's some people starting to walk out of the upper city down into the lower city, looking for places to relax, to drink, um, or to have food in the evening. Um, I think you have to. You're prepared to walk quite a long way, so perhaps you rent um, a river barge, take you a small canoe or something to
Mm.
take you faster downriver. Um, as you move through the city, you get further downriver, and there start to be more and more of these floating farm barges and cultivated lands on the side of the rivers as well, on the river banks. Um, I think it's kind of a mixed looking landscape. There's small groves of fruit trees, small plots of different types of um, vegetable and grain crop. There's nothing like it's not like people are growing one type of thing in a huge systematic like large area. It's lots of very small
Well,
plots of different things. Yeah. Um, as you make your way down river, like um, you start seeing small tents and shacks and lean-tos being constructed in the gaps between these fields. And then as you go even further, the fields themselves, like the fields give way into um, unstructured moorland and these small broken up pieces of island in the river delta. And these become more and more covered in small houses, um, makeshift boats, and you see more and more people who seem familiar in the way they look, um, and and the way they dress, if far more ragged than you were ever used to.
Yeah, like, am I headed towards some sort of like? I assume there's like a triage center or like a place where they keep the plague-ridden and the sick, or is it too
Um,
disorganized for even that?
it's way too disorganized for that. Like I think as you go through, like you maybe see a couple of people here and there who are like I don't think you see any sick people. Like they'd be hidden away inside houses, but you can see some people. Like you see a couple of people here and there who are like carrying carrying more water into the house. Um, like people cooking outside, people um scavenging firewood, that kind of thing. Um, so yeah, I think you've been into this place a couple of times. So I think you've got your bearings already to some extent.
Yeah. Like, I assume there's a community leader or like some sort of person in that kind of role, like the person people bring their problems to.
Um, yeah, I think there's several of them, right? There's several of them with different small areas will have different people that they are regarding as like um
The
as in
person
that
who's like,
position.
yeah, giving
Yeah.
advice, dispensing help
Yeah.
as best they can.
Um. Yeah. So you go to one of those that you already know. Are you looking? Yeah. So I guess you're looking for someone that you've met recently, right?
Yeah, I
You've met
guess I
recently.
have.
Um. I don't think you can actually pull them up on circles. I don't
Nope.
know. Like it's odd. Like we're saying you have the fictional positioning that you've been into the city, like you've been into this area and looked around to meet someone. Um, but we don't actually have anything that would let you meet that person.
Yeah, it's
So I
not
think this is a
necessarily
like
pull up from circles. Yeah.
I think this is like a a establish a fact about the universe using a wise, right? Um, like you are saying to me, yes, this is a person. Like I know that there is a person who I will be able to talk to about. I mean, if you want to say like there's a person that I want to be able to talk to about the problems of this refugee camp, like as a whole, you can just establish that, right?
Hmm.
Um, using a wise.
Yeah.
Um, I think failure is that they have made it very clear to you that they do not trust you for a second, that they know you're an alchemist, um, that they blame alchemists for everything that happened to like drive them south. They don't know who's caused all these problems, but like they know two things, and that monsters and alchemists go together like cheese and biscuits. Like rice and beans. There we are.
All right. What kind of wise is that? Because I feel like this
um,
is a wise that's never ever gonna get used ever again.
it's absolutely true. Um,
What's the name of the city?
Quaquatzal-wise.
I can't spell that.
Uh,
I blame Jen.
I blame Jen. Hang on. Quetzal. There we are. I've named it. It is labeled. Um,
Dude. Okay. What's so we've talked about failure. Success is like I'll have an in here, right?
Success is like a couple of days ago, you met this person and you did a like feelers and like just pleasantries conversation, and now you're coming back and you're like, okay, down to business.
Okay. I, uh, what's the obstacle here?
Um,
How common is it that we know this person or that this person exists? Is it
I think this is obstacle 3. Um, it is. It is.
details?
Yeah, I think this is like this is a specific like you'd be able to get this from people in the refugee camp. Um, but you'd have to ask around a bit. You'd have to get someone who's prepared to talk to you. I think there definitely is some extent to which the people in the refugee camp don't or wouldn't trust you um, as an outsider.
All right. I'm spending that fate. Why not? I got loads of fate. So I've got 1 6, 1 dice, and this. Oof. Oof. Alright.
um, okay. Yeah, so um, you go off to meet let's call her um Cassie um
Sorry.
Cassie sorry. I think as you're making your way down towards where she is, I think you hear raised voices. It sounds like there's a group of people shouting at each other. Um, and as your small boat lands at the I think that she's set up like her camp on one of these larger pieces of like dry land. I think this bit is already it's one of the older parts of the refugee camp. So the houses around here are built more firmly. Um, the the piece of land that they're on has been like kicked clean of weeds and of grass. So it's no longer like grass that's been stamped flat by people walking over it. It's just bare bare ground that started to become like compressed from people like
You go
walking
walking
over it.
through
So
it.
that, yeah. Um, and as you turn this as you land at this on this island, you see there's another quite large and better made boat from closer into the city. And as you walk up onto the land, um, you see Kasisari standing like hands on hips. There's 4 or 5 other men and women from Chandrapur, and they're arguing um, with a young Otson officer, and he has 12, 12 soldiers standing. Like they're not standing behind him. They're just like they're they've already sort of begun to spread out a bit and wander around this square.
They're not
They're
wandering around so much as
they're
like
not, they've
intentionally creating a half circle.
yes, yeah. They're like spreading out a bit and like they're appearing threatening around this, right? Um, and yeah, so they are. You hear Cassie Sari like shouting, and she's like we're not we're not criminals, we're not traitors. We wouldn't draw attention. You think we're stupid? You think we're dumb? We're gonna let some Otson thief crawl in among us and hide under our beds? Well, you think we're going to take your temple just because we're from Chandrapur? You dumb Otsons. You Get out, get out. We don't need you soldiers here. And the soldier is he's not backing down. He's pointing at her like saying, "I've got my orders. We're to search these buildings. If you've got nothing to hide, there's nothing to worry about. We'll be looking around and then leave, and that'll be it." Um,
Hmm.
yeah, I think the Kasisari is still shouting back. She's waving her hands. I think one of the other people behind her, like, does Suria do anything in this like argument, or is she just like leaving it?
Suria's taking a moment, like she's looking around and like trying to figure out what like why exactly Kasisari is so concerned about this. Uh, like she's watching other people, right, in this situation, watching like what people are doing in their houses, watching like who's sort of like going in, what are they taking out, what are they like trying to protect from these onsens.
Hmm.
Or like this because there's like what I'm imagining right now is like there's this main shouting going on, right? And
Yeah.
she's watching all the stuff at the side and trying to figure like out the context of this. You see what I mean? Like why people are concerned about like the guards coming in. I mean, obviously, like they're going to be concerned about armed men walking into their homes,
Yeah.
but also
Um.
like, are these guards going to be like definitely just quote unquote confiscating goods? Are these guards going to be like, are they known to be very violent here? Like, what is the context of this situation? Are the people taking the children out and like shooing them away, telling them to go play somewhere else? Are they like taking their valuables out and like moving it somewhere else? What is everyone else doing?
Okay. I think this is a perception roll. I think I this is probably a graduated test.
Yo,
Sorry. Um.
there ain't no failure. You gotta roll a one. One, pretty okay. I'll spend a six. Wait. Nope.
Okay. Um. Yeah, I think you see. Like, I think one of the reasons that you ended up finding this woman was that you were like asking after sick people rather than asking after this woman. And like there's quite a few sick people gathered here, right? So that's one thing that's going on. Um, is that the soldiers might disturb the sick people, or like, God forbid, the soldiers get sick, and then everyone starts panicking about the refugee camp actually spreading a disease to the main city. Um, and yeah, I think you see people sort of standing around looking confused more than they're like worrying about moving stuff out.
So like there
Um,
hasn't been a presence. Like this is like a new experience for them.
yeah, like it's not like this has happened like every day for weeks. This is um,
This is a new thing due to the
yeah.
lost papers. All right. Yeah. So with that in hand, like Surya starts walking forward and approaches the guards. Captain, are you certain a search of this specific area is such a good idea? Surya Bulan, Putri Minang.
I'm sorry, who?
Putri
What are you
Minang,
doing here?
Surya Bulan. I'm here to investigate the sickness.
Yes, yes. Have you seen this place? It's a warren. That thief could be hiding anywhere.
And that thief would be dead very quickly if they hid here. Look around you. The sick are being stored here. If all your guards go running around in this place, they might end up with infections.
Um, yeah, that's a short lead-in, but that's a roll.
Yep.
uh,
Trust me, I'm an alchemist.
yeah. um, failure. He's going to double down. Guards are going to go into the buildings. Like he's just going to give the order for the guards to start searching the buildings. And then the Otson, like sorry, the Chandrapur people in the square shouting at them are going to react in some way, right?
Right. Is this persuasion roll?
Yeah, I think so.
Most clear-cut case of persuasion we've had in a while.
Yep.
Alright, what's my obs?
Obs is 4. You get a bonus dice for the previous test.
Alright, cool. I'm still fucked. Oh, ob 8. What a wonderful test.
Uh,
You know what? It's fine. I'll just roll some 6s. It's
4
cool.
is such a fair. Like I've been thinking
Yeah.
to myself, hey, maybe my obs have been like 1 higher than
No,
like
you're
maybe
okay.
maybe there's like maybe the Quetzal wise could have been like a 4 rather like could have been a 2 rather than a 3. Maybe the ancient languages should have been a 4, but
No,
like it hasn't mattered at all.
I'm just really bad at social rolls. Alright, I'm
And
gonna
then you do
spend
something
that
like this.
fate.
You do something like this, and I'm just like, yeah, whatever. You're clearly doing this on purpose.
I'm not doing it on purpose. I just gotta do it. Right? Like, I could just stand aside, but well, would that be interesting?
Yeah, so I think the officer just like looks at you and says, I don't have time for this.
On your head
Men,
be
you
it.
two. Men, you two, search that house first. And she like points behind Cassisari to the house that she like that is her house, right? They
And like
they push past. Sorry.
as they do so, I'm like trying to follow in behind them.
Yeah. They push past her. And I think one of the like both Cassisari and one of the men behind her just stand in the way to stop them. And stand in the door, and they actually the soldiers tries to shove them aside, and then the man next to Cassisari just bricks one of them in the face. There's the sound of guns being raised to shoulders. The second soldier who is standing next to the guy who's just been punched punches the Chandrapur man in the face. Kashisari begins screaming, like shouting and yelling, like she's kicking both of their shins. Like the other the other refugees start clearing out. Like this is the moment you start seeing people like grab their children and try to leave.
Alright, I look back. Where are the soldiers pointing at?
So there's 3 soldiers who have shouldered rifles and pointed them at the door where Cassisari and the man are standing, like where the fight's broken out. The officer is just looking shocked. I think there's a couple of other of the soldiers who are just walking, like who are starting to move towards that. Right, they're like 3 or 4 steps into a run towards the door, just without their guns out.
Okay. 1 second. Yeah. I think Suria is just gonna start shouting.
Okay.
Everybody stop! And like trying to just like leave it in a position where there is tension in the air and everything, but like not actual continued violence. And like she motions at Tepiani to get him to like separate the two.
Yeah, so this is 2 things. So,
I'm
number
hoping
1,
he
we're
helps me
doing
with one.
yeah, so this is command, I guess.
Oh, that sounds like come on.
Um
So good at that too.
I'm gonna say command 4+1 because you're not you're not actually in a position of authority over these people.
Nope. This is Noble. He thinks she
You
is.
get a helping dice from Tepiani on that roll. And if you fail, I will just continue narrating bad things happening.
Yeah. Yeah. This is 4+1, right? Sorry.
Yes, 4+1.
Oh man, this is great. I'm gonna get my will to 5 before the end of this session. Oh, hey. That should have been a complication. It's fine.
That's okay.
Still trash. My rolls, man. Tonight. This is today.
Yeah, the Otson officer shouts at you like, "Who the hell do you think you're giving? Arrest that man! Turn the houses upside down, all of you! They're hiding something here." Yeah, Tepiani goes towards those two, and I think he's gonna try and throw one of the guys out throw the guy who's just been punched out the way so he doesn't like start fighting again. The other guys around there are probably gonna try and grab him and the other two and the 2 Challenger Perrin people and like hold them down. I'm wondering if I can be bothered to roll, or I'm just gonna narrate this.
I think you should just narrate this one.
Yeah, I think So Tepiani like pushes the guy out, pushes the guy back and stands in front of them, and then like 5 more guys, like one of them like just jumps at him from a run. The 2 guys who are pushed back move forwards, push him and the other guy who's just jumped on to the ground, and then someone grabs Cassie's seat. Someone I've lost her name again. Yeah, someone grabs Cassie Sari by the arm. Someone else, 2 other soldiers begin punching this guy in the gut, and he goes down onto the floor. And they keep kicking him for a bit, and then pick him up by the shoulders, and drag all 3 of them out into the square. Right, Tepiani gives less resistance when he's on the floor, and they let him stand up and. No, I don't. Yeah, and then pull him over, like still like one man holding each of his arms. The officer looks over the 3 of them. Kasi Sari spits at his feet, and he says, "Well, let's like leaning towards Kasi Sari. He's like, let's see what you've got hidden away, then, shall we?" and walks into her house. Um, like two soldiers follow him in. One standing by the door, and the other one coming in with him.
Suria's gonna walk up to the
They
door and try to enter.
the so the guy at the door looks at you. He actually points his rifle at you. His gun at you.
And she says, how large of an incident would you like to create here?
The officer's searching the house.
I'm not attempting to stop him.
You can wait outside.
But if I wait outside, any infectious materials might be disturbed.
There is a shout from inside the house of fear, and shock and horror, and it is the officer's voice.
Yeah, I think at that point she's like, "You want to let me in?" And just
But
starts
yeah, I think
walking.
the guy turns and he's holding the like he turns in shock and you just walk straight past him. Um, I think in the back room, the officer you see like there's two rooms to this house, right? Um, there's a room that seems to be like various home implements in it. There's a small stove with a makeshift pipe leading out the wall. There's various like clothes. There's a couple of chests and boxes, and then there's a low door that leads through to a sleeping chamber.
Hmm.
The officer is backwards on his ass in the door. He's like stumbled backwards and fallen over. And the soldier he brought in is fumbling with his gun, and trying to load and trying to prime it, but is like his hands keep slipping. Um, and through the door, crouched low at the back of the room, you can see underneath a blanket a um, like the a pair of yellow eyes looking back at you, and a scaled arm, right? A long scaled arm with like bent, hooked fingers, almost like claws.
How similar do they look to uh Kilu and like her situation?
Um, I would say that would be difficult. Like it would be difficult to work out exactly. Oh shit! Hang on. I've just
Oh
nudged the.
no.
Oh no! This is
Touch
what
your
the problem with this
voice.
wire is. There we are. Um, yeah, I think it does look different, right? This
Hmm.
is
This is more like, from what you've described it, more
this
reptilian, more like.
yeah, this looks more like this. These are like grey scales that look like they're pushing up through skin, right? It looks like fingers that have had like claws start to grow out of them, rather than like a complete change and a complete like this is much more similar to um like other alchemical changes and other chimeric creatures you've seen in the past. Like I think this is in a longer running TV show, right? We'd have introduced some sort of chimeric creature before this, but like this is much more similar. This is much in terms of the things that alchemy can accomplish, right? This isn't the incredibly impressive of
Yeah,
changes that were wrought on.
this is a more classic example of it.
Yeah, and it could be that this is just like, I mean, this is clearly not completed, right? Whatever this is. Um,
I feel like I'm not sure if Suria would be too shocked to speak right now.
Hey,
Because
honestly, let's actually use the steel mechanic. Uh, let's use the steel mechanic to decide, because like I think there's the
it's
potential that like that these guys recover from their shock first,
and then shoot them.
and then shoot them. Um, um, I think this is ob 4. Um,
There's
base
an
ob 1
op
plus
for steel.
steel test advantages and disadvantages. Um, so if you're not calling it ob's hesitation, which like,
The trick here is
oh no
doing
you
it faster than they do, right? Like
yeah,
that's the
so
only
like
thing that matters. So do you just want to do a versus steel test here?
yeah, we could do versus steel.
I think
So
that makes the most sense.
soldier ought to have I mean, this is like a town guard type soldier, right? He's not actually been in a battle, so I think he's probably got 5. Yeah.
Oh look, it's just like me.
Uh, if I thought he'd been in a battle, I'd have said 6 or 7.
There. 4 successes. What is this bullshit? Like, I got
He's
this.
had a bit
It's
of a.
easy.
Oh my goodness. Oh no.
Stop.
Um.
I'm gonna explode that. Well, I'm gonna reroll one of those failed dices. And I'm gonna succeed. Watch this. Ah.
um.
Yes.
There's a horrible moment. I think, like we see Suria like take a step backwards, mouth open in shock. Um. We see the officer like scrabbling backwards on the floor. And the soldier like finish like misses the lever on the to prime the rifle, and then hits it down, lifts the rifle, and he's swinging it wildly like towards this creature. He's not really aiming in anything like a considered manner, and fires, and the smoke from this gun fills the room for a second, and as it disperses, you can see the form that was hunched at the back of the room is now slumped at the back of the room, and the yellow green eyes that were looking at you aren't looking at you anymore. The officer is pulling himself to his feet, and shouting for his men. Like he's shouting that there's monsters hiding in the houses. Um,
Uh, as he's doing that, Surya starts moving towards him. And she says, that person did not attack you. This is a plague, and it has to be dealt with as a disease.
you hear a faint moan from the back of the room, like a very pained sounding moan.
Like, is he still shouting like?
Mm. he pushes past you and goes out. Like he's moving to go outside. I think you hear him shouting go through the houses, find these monsters, round them up. We'll take them to prison. This is an invasion. We can't let them hide like this. Round them all up. Round them all up. And from outside you can hear you can hear Cassie Surrey wailing in fear, like, my baby, my child, no. What have they done to you? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Are you okay? Are you alive?
Yeah. I think Suria hits towards like hunched over figure. What do I see?
Yeah, lifting back the cloth they were hiding themselves with. It's a 15-year-old or so boy. They're wearing clothes, but the clothes are like torn in places where these jagged scales have like torn through them. They seem like they're partway through this process of being mutated into a different, more reptilian form in some ways. They've been shot in the side, and they are indeed bleeding. And if they are not treated, your expert eyes of a person who's bleeding recognize that they would die if they're not treated.
Okay. So like even as she was walking towards the hunch of
They might die if they're not treated, right? You don't know.
Even as she starts like walking towards the hunched over figure, she's already pulling out stuff from her bag. She was planning already on like taking samples, figuring out things, which meant that she also took the appropriate equipment to prevent like a transfer of disease as well. So she's like put on gloves as she inspects the wound.
Yeah, I think this is going to. What skill are you using here? Are you trying to stop the bleeding here, or are you just looking at the wound?
I'm looking at the wound to try to figure out what's going on right now. Next step is probably stopping the bleeding.
So this seems to be a midi wound. It is mechanically speaking non-fatal, but like this person is in a like dirty and bad camp. Probably if you leave this and they don't get proper treatment, they will just get sicker and die.
They also have like a weird transition situation with their body right now, or like
So I feel like that's a separate issue, right? I feel like
no, I meant like that probably complicates things in terms of like surviving.
I think that their blood is like really oddly watery, right? It's like really it's flowing more quickly than you'd expect. But it's also like almost more paler and more see-through.
Okay. Yeah, she is going to start like pulling out what are basically like sealants to try to staunch the bleeding first. Like disinfectants.
Okay. Okay. Are you working really quickly here?
I mean,
if you work quickly, you'll have done this in time to like interrupt the officer rounding people up from the houses. If not, you'll walk out and there'll be like a bunch of people from these houses like gathered in the center of the square with soldiers like pointing guns at them, ready to like take them up to the city and arrest them.
I don't think I'm working like especially quickly.
Okay.
Like she's not really thinking about that right now.
Yeah.
Modifiers. I'm gonna add a fork in alchemy. I don't have anatomy, unfortunately. So I've got 5 dice, 0 Arta, and my base obstacle is 2.
Um.
For apothecary,
Yes.
right? Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Okay. Maybe I might actually pass a test tonight.
Yeah.
Just barely.
Just barely. Um.
Yeah, so I guess what it looks like is the first step is to like remove the like musket bullet,
Mm,
right?
the musket ball. Yeah.
He's got like her gloves up. It's gory, it's dirty, but we hear a ping on the ground as she starts
Mm,
like pouring a few different liquids on top of it and stitches it up, I suppose.
yeah. I think the kid you're working on faints partway through.
Yeah, like she's probably a lot more relieved when he faints because she then can stop like trying to calm him down and say like you'll be all right. Breathe in,
Yeah, I think
breathe
you
out.
take a moment to be like, oh God, is he lost too much blood? Have I lost it? No, no,
No, no,
he's
he's
still okay.
doesn't
He's
pain.
just fainted. Right.
And that was a close test. Still. Yeah, but she picks him up, puts him like oh, I guess he was already kind of like in the sleeping quarters, right?
Yeah.
So lays him out, ensures like he won't choke on whatever he might choke on. Walks out of the room. What do we see in the
Uh,
sunlight?
so what you see in the sunlight is I think Tepiani's standing off to one side. His face is pale and he's like holding his pistol in both hands, pointing at the floor. Um, there's 2 rows of people. I think about 10 in total. You see, all of them have some signs of this change upon them. Right? There's a couple like one of them you see like one of their ears has fallen off and they've just got a hole in the side of their head now. Um, a couple of them you see like there's scales growing up their back. Um, more of them have claws than not, and they're sort of cowering in tense fear on the floor as a row of these soldiers um, stand there pointing guns towards the group as a whole. Right, um, the officer is as you watch, leading 2 soldiers out of another house, and they throw another of these sick people down onto the floor next to the others.
I think like she's probably slid up to Tapiani first.
Yeah.
So this is what they were hiding. Put that gun away.
Yeah. Yes. Sorry. Who did this? Well, this is awful.
Not even particularly impressive work.
Why do you think? Why do you think the Chandrapuns were hiding this?
Wouldn't you?
Oh, yeah. Sorry. I guess so. Those soldiers were talking about them as spies, like they're dangerous or something.
I sincerely doubt any spy master worth their salt is going to turn their agents into this.
No, but that's how it looks, right?
To the
Sneak,
foolish.
sneak some, sneak some loyal people into the city, turn them into monsters.
What's going on while like this conversation is happening?
Yeah, I think the officer is finishing checking the other buildings. The people on the floor are like are cowering. Kassisuri is begging one of the soldiers to begging the soldier who I think she's been released by the soldier who was looking after her, and has now made her way into the house. The the other man has still got a soldier guarding him. And yeah, as you watch, the officer finishes going over a couple of the other houses, and comes to stand in front of these captives. He takes a second. He's just standing there. He's breathing deeply. He kind of doesn't seem sure what to do. And then
Yeah, like
he's about to gather himself and give an order, basically, right? Like there's this moment where he's like,
Suria was
uh,
waiting until like they had finished the rounding up
hmm,
to like start approaching.
hmm.
I did warn you.
Did you know about this?
I knew there was a sickness going around. And now all your men have been exposed to it.
This doesn't look like a sickness. This is. I've heard about this.
Oh, I'm sorry, are you an alchemist?
I was trained in the army. They teach us these things.
What are these then? Pray tell.
Some kind of strange monster. They've made people, given them these claws and scales. If we left them a month, they'd be maybe completely covered, and then they'd come into the city and start killing people at night or something. I don't know.
I suggest you do not bring them into the city. This is an infection which might spread. And given the conditions of the city, especially with the waterways, it could spread very quickly. So the
Who are
camp,
you to say that?
someone with
You just
actual
walk in.
knowledge. Or were you trained in the Center Academy? I'm not asking you to just take my word on this. Your superiors will say the same thing once they've consulted with their alchemist. But right this moment, you bring those people into the city, you'll have a whole lot more trouble on your hands. Ollie, you alright?
Lee, would you like to make a roll?
Okay. Because right now, all I'm seeing is like the top of your head.
I just like crouched down my book and I was just like,
Oh, that's gonna end badly.
um,
I'm really glad. Let's keep trying this. Eventually, I'll
let's
have
scroll
some
up a bit.
persuasions.
Um, so his will is 4, as we've established previously.
Is he more willing to
Uh,
listen after I was right the first time?
I think you get a bonus dice for that.
Cool. Maybe I shouldn't have said that.
Uh,
Alright. Yeah, so that's the first thing. Is it possible for me to like lobby for advantage dice for being an actual alchemist? Like, I'm not telling him like do this now. Like, just do this indefinitely. I'm saying like wait for orders before bringing in an unknown group of like an unknown factor into the city itself. You can set up camp somewhere, build a watch, whatever. I don't care, but like leave it out. Leave it out of the city.
yeah, I think you can. I think I'll give you a bonus dice for the innate sensibility of your argument as well. Um,
Cool. That's
failure
60.
is, of course, that he takes them to he takes them to a prison in the center of the city, right? And like he sails them all the way up the river, like in full view of
Right.
everyone, like causes a complete panic, and then just marches them straight into jail because they're clearly he isn't he doesn't have this isn't a bad position he's doing. Like he won't get told off for doing
Yeah, he's just
this.
following
Like
protocol, right?
he this is protocol, right? If you have people who have like these kind of dangerous modifications to themselves, like you can't just let them walk around the city.
Hmm.
Because I mean, one of the things you probably know about people with doing chimerism to a person or an animal is quite likely to just kill it in the short run, right? Because the way the system works is you apply changes with a time duration, right? Um, and if you do that to a person or like an animal, like I think we've not had anyone attempt to perform this kind of procedure, but if I think someone did want to, they would have an easier time of this if they were like, and I don't care what happens to them after they've finished turning into a monster, right? Um,
Right. I guess that's part of my question here. Like, is it within the mechanics like of this whole system, right? Like in the fiction, like is is this one of the first few times like people have done this via a transferable disease?
um, this is a question that actually requires the answer to this question actually requires some work on the actual condition, right? You don't if this is done by a transferable disease, it would be a pretty scary thing
Okay.
they've done.
Yeah,
That's
that's
like combining making a disease way worse than it normally is, right? Which is possible. Like you can do that. If you can isolate a disease, it's possible to do. The isolating the disease part is the hard part because science just isn't
there.
like
Yeah.
the science really isn't that quite there. So you just have to get lucky to some extent,
Hmm.
and not affect their gut bacteria and give them a really good digestion system for a bit. Um,
What?
um, like people, the concepts just aren't there, right? You'd have to be really on top of things to even have an idea to
Yeah.
do this. Second, this is a difficult procedure on its own.
Right. That's
So
what that's kind of my like question,
yeah,
right? Is this a thing I've heard of that's been done before, or this is like very
yeah.
novel?
Like
No,
they have
not
heard of this being done.
chimerism, right?
Oh, right, okay.
Chimerism with as a transferable disease.
As a transferable disease, um, I could be asking for a role in that. Probably not. I think you've probably not ever heard of this, right? If you wanted to say, yes, I have heard of a case of this happening in order to get bonus dice on a future test, I'm not saying there's no grounds for you to do that. I'm saying this is probably unheard of.
Right.
Um,
Okay.
there's maybe specific examples, right, of people who tried it, or people who succeed. Yeah,
Yeah, that's kind of my point, right? Like, is this a thing that's sort of like in the common knowledge, or is this more like a very out there idea? Which was what I was trying to get across.
yeah.
And it sounds like it's like sort of unknown.
If
Oh, Ollie, you there?
Hello?
Okay, you're like breaking up a bit.
Oh, we're
Talking
frozen.
about? Yeah, you're frozen.
Okay.
You gotta let it go.
Uh,
You're still frozen.
uh,
Okay,
we've
let's
called
see.
rejoin or something. Will
Right.
that break
Well,
everything?
we'll shift over to a different screen and then we can change this.
Okay.
So we're gonna leave the call and then remake it.
Okay.
Alright, is this better?
Is it
Hang on,
working again?
1 second.
My camera's not frozen anymore, so
Good sign.
it is a good sign.
Let me see if it's, yeah, everything's good. I'm not sure why you just suddenly froze up and the internet went bad.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, we were talking about making rolls that I am bad at.
Yes. Oh,
You know what? I
no.
got 6 to 4. I only need 2 more successes on top of it. It'll be fine.
Oh, no. Hang on. Tepiani is gonna Tepiani's gonna try and help. Um, he's
You can
he's
do
he's
that?
gonna he's gonna yeah, he's just gonna I mean, you don't have a skill, so it doesn't matter that he's also not got any social.
Good
He's
point.
gonna step in and say it'd be safer to keep them outside the city anyway. Just if you need to keep them separate, then take them out the camp and have other soldiers meet you.
Yeah, she nods at that.
People will panic if you take these guys through the city. Yeah, so he gives you bonus dice.
Find out if it worked. Tepiani's dice is the last dice. Ah, Tepiani's trash. And also I'm trash. Where are my 6s? 8 dice. 7 dice. Okay.
Yeah, the officer looks between the two of you and he looks down at these people. And I think he just turns back to his men and says, "Get them onto the boat. We'll take we'll take them up now. Half of you stay here with me. We'll have to keep searching these houses. Make sure there's no more of these creatures hiding. You, send word to the general. Tell him that there's something going on in these camps." And then he waits for a second. He's like, "You have your orders. Go." And everyone breaks in different directions. Um, yeah,
I'm
I
going
think
to start. Oh,
sorry.
got.
I don't think the captives make any resistance as they're loaded onto these boats. They seem like they're lethargic, right? They're kind of a bit you see a couple of the soldiers hit one of them with the butt of the rifle when they're just stumbling quite slowly, right? Towards the boat.
Uh, is my boat still there?
Your boat's still there.
Right, I'm making a beeline to it.
Cool.
I feel like I need to get to the general. And also, I'm gonna change some of these beliefs. Actually, do
Yes.
I? Hmm. I'm looking at my current beliefs. I believe there is a way of leveraging this situation to my advantage. I'll leave it as is for now. Yeah. He gets on a boat, tells him to bring her to the palace. Idan's palace.
The girl who you had like punting your boat along for you, has gone very pale, and she's very enthusiastic about getting away from these creatures, and puts her back into it, at least to start with. Is it? I think I can ask for a roll here on the basis that, like, I don't know what happens. I think the failure here is just that, like I think there is a roll to see how quickly you get to the palace. I think failure is that, like, you that there's a bunch of stuff failure is they get into the city before you get to the palace and finish the conversation. Success is you get to the palace and can have a conversation with Etan and react like as they are getting into like the bottom of the city, but like they're like beginning to like make their way through the canals and then get up onto the streets and walk through the streets in the lower city, right? And failure is that they get all the way to like these people are in prison by the time you finish the conversation with Etan.
Right. So what's this roll? Are we just running?
I feel like this could be city-wise. It could also just be speed, right?
Well, I feel like because like it's pretty clear how to get there, right? Half of it will be on the boat.
So streetwise,
so
streetwise, that would do it.
There's no choice there. And then the
Yeah.
other half is getting there fast enough and having that conversation.
Yeah. I'm not sure about this.
I'm going to lobby for speed on the basis that I like stat tests. And if there's really no difference between the two,
It is.
in terms
It
of like
probably should be speed. It probably should be speed. Because it's a big general thing that we don't have anything specific to cover, right? And streetwise is more like navigation. It's to represent the difficulty of like having a big city without having to draw maps for a big city. Yeah, so I think speed is the key here.
all right, I
Um,
kind of assume I'm slower than Tepiani, so I'm just gonna roll the 4. What's the obstacle?
I'm just trying to find page 15. I feel like this should be ob 4 because like not because I feel like they're particularly fast, but I just feel like this is quite a long way.
If we're leaving
right?
at the same time, it's very tricky to get there faster than they are, even if they have like what they effectively have is like a convoy, which will move slower than us, which is why I have the positioning to do this.
Their boats are weighed down. They're bigger boats. They've got to spend all their time like they're not able to punt with more than one person at a time because they're just like they have to keep guns on these captives. They don't have any like tools for actually tying them up, so that they are literally just it is a very inconvenient and slow method. Like that's the only reason you're able to do this at all. Yeah.
Well, this should be fairly easy. 3 ones. I'm gonna complain to Roll20 about this. This is some bullshit.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, describe yourself like bursting into like how do you like getting up through the actual main plateau like.
Yeah, I think we see a lot of like long shots of like Suria and Tepiani running to the palace.
Yeah.
like blazing past, like probably like somebody's there supposed to be greeting her, right? And she just like runs past her.
Yeah, there's a soldier at the gate who's like chasing you, like drawing his pistol and like shouting at you to stop.
No time to explain. But yeah, like she probably like bursts into Ethan's room.
Yeah, I think it you like you burst into the room you saw Ethan previously. You like you shout, "Where's Ethan?" So like everyone's shocked, silence for a second. They say, he's sleeping. It's he's taking," and then you like run out a different door and towards a different part of the building.
Yep.
Um,
Which
you
way is
you
his
then
bedroom? We don't know.
yeah, yeah. You burst into this room, and as you do, like there's like
Yeah, I
there's
assume
other
there are actually
opposite.
guards in front of his room, right? If he's sleeping.
Yes, yeah, like there's guards in front of the room, like they see that you're in a giant hurry, and I think they let you in, standing either side of you and like still guarding you. I think there's a moment I think earlier in the chase where like Tepiani gets tackled by like the gate guard, um, just
Poor
in a
Tepiani.
like yeah,
He's the
um,
one with weapons after all.
yeah, um, yeah. So the Itan, you see him as you burst into the room, like um he rouses himself slowly from the hammock he's lying in. There's like a few bars of light from the window um falling across this room. It's quite empty. Um and he is sort of breathing very heavily and um and and wheezing a bit as he turns to you.
Very
Who
little time to explain. Your guards are
who is
bringing
it?
in. Your guards are bringing in some potentially very infectious people into the city. You need to stop them now.
God, gods. What? Which gate?
Refugee camp. I don't know which gate. From the refugee camp.
You left in front of them?
Yes. Barely.
Let's go.
She nods and
Men,
like starts moving.
follow me. And um he tries to like jump out of his hammock and like stumbles as he hits the floor and like falls and leans against the wall. Um and like I think the guards at the door um move towards him and he raises a hand like, "No, don't don't wait for me. Go to go to the main gates the and the jail. Make sure catch them there or at the jail if you have to. Um, tell them it's my orders. They're to turn round, take them out the city, anywhere. You get me my." And he points across the room. Get me my stick. We'll we'll have to go.
So, like, is this old age or is
Yeah,
this
this
something
is
more?
no. This is like he's old, right? He is
Okay.
old. Um, and he like he looks really like angry at himself. Like you can tell like that moment where he stumbled against the wall, like he wanted to jump up and run out the door, and then
Couldn't.
like he almost fell over and hurt himself, right? Um,
Yeah. Take the stick, pass it to him.
I need better alchemists. They're not doing their jobs properly. I need more time. Damn it. What's happened?
I was investigating rumors of a plague in the refugee camp. It appears to have been chimeric in nature.
Someone's
Regards,
turning people in this city into soldiers. Into weapons? My people? Or just refugees?
refugees so far. I didn't see any evidence of alchemical implements. The village could have missed it, but these people don't seem the sort to be flush with that kind of equipment.
You're coming with me.
Nuts.
We'll go and see these sick refugees.
Do you want to like fast forward here, or
Yeah, I think so. Unless you've got more stuff you want to say. I don't think he's feeling terribly like
she is still like
communicate.
racing as well in terms of like trying to figure out like who profits from this, what's going on, like also like how the fuck did they pull off that? Right? How did they pull off both like the disease in the first place?
Yeah.
So she's also just like silent for most of the journey, thinking.
Yeah.
Where we come back on.
Yeah, so I think you get like you get out the door and like immediately there's more guards who like rush in like and get ordered off in different directions. There's a servant who approaches the general and asks if he wants a litter. The general like swears at him and like throws the stick at him. And then like gets past the stick back and keeps like hobbling his way along. The like as you get out to the gate, the first person to like report back gets back to you, and they say like we've stationed people at the south and the east gate. Um, we've not heard anything so far. And then as you get further down, like through the city, you actually hear the sound of people like having a panic like 3 streets over. Like you can hear the sound of people shouting, and from around the corner you see like people who were normally going out about their business like running out of an alley, holding one of them like holding like shopping they've got, like someone holding like pushing a cart full of stuff and like pale face. um there seems to be like a panic going on in the city.
All you have to do is follow the trail.
Yeah, and you follow backwards, like these people push past you and then see the general, and then like they stop and they make way for him. And slowly you make your way through to the this is a new building. It's a brick low and long building. Um it's a set of barracks that have sorry, that was a lovely bird. Um, um, there's a set of barracks which have a part of them set aside on the upper floor for the holding of prisoners, and he leads you to this place. The officer you met earlier is downstairs giving his report to the senior officer in charge of the building. And as he sees you in the general, he snaps to salute. And says, "Sir, I've detained some dangerous chimerics from the refugee camp. We have reason to believe they were being hidden in an attempt to. We have reason to believe they were being hidden by the people of the refugee camp for unknown purposes, and have detained them on the basis of um, of standing orders regarding alchemical creations." The general waves him to one side of the thing. "Well, alchemist,
Will have to give me some time to study them. On first glance. Like,
should we clear the building? You've heard more about this disease than I have."
I'm as yet uncertain how it spreads. So like here's the thing I do want to do actually, Ollie.
Okay.
I need some information to dish out.
Okay.
So I want to dish out some information. Uh what kind of test would that be? Because like
Any purpose?
yeah, like analyzing the situation and thinking like here are the key elements of the plague, how is it spread? Because it appears that like it's I'm still quite unsure how it spreads.
Yeah.
Because the mother seemed to be at least like trying to take care of the son,
Yeah.
and
So I
there's a
guess
lot of weirdness there.
you can probably give general advice towards plague
Quarantining,
quarantine.
yeah,
Um, like, but you don't have any specific advice on this plague, right? You haven't actually
right.
investigated in any detail.
You're just covered in light right now.
Oh, nice. I am ascending. Um, it's a great room. I'm just gonna be like this every week, right? I'm just sat here sunbathing. I can actually open the window all the way as well. There we go. Well, no,
Isn't
wrong
that
one.
a health and safety hazard?
Hang on.
I thought places which like they rent it to often like this.
There we are. I'm sat here in the sun.
A really
Lovely.
bad bit, Ollie. It's a really bad bit. Hello, I'm Ollie from the other side of this window. Okay, yeah. So I think what I say then is the standard quarantine advice: clear the building, make sure nobody gets in, make sure nobody gets out, have people watching outside, uh, provide the usual quarantine bullshit gear, right?
um, yes. So tell them you need face masks, you need gloves,
Yeah.
and you need to have disposable outer clothing that you're gonna be wearing to then throw away or clean very thoroughly
Mm.
in order to touch these people. You ask for some of that stuff for yourself, I guess.
Yeah,
Um,
I've already sort of like walked out with that stuff in the first place because I was thinking about doing this.
yeah,
But
yeah,
more doesn't help, especially since I'm gonna be burning the clothes.
yeah.
But yeah, the gist of it is here's the usual quarantine stuff you need to do, but I need some time to study it.
Um, yeah, Ethan. I think everyone looks at Etang for a second, and he raises his arms in the air. Is like, "What are you looking at me for? We had training on this sort of thing, didn't we? Well, let the alchemists do their work."
So like as people start clearing the room, it's like I'm assuming there's like one or two of them here in this room, as
Hmm?
in one of two of the like infected people.
No, they've been like moved upstairs, right? They
So,
got brought into this building, moved straight into the cells upstairs, right?
okay,
Because they're dangerous.
so she's going to go visit the cells.
Yeah. And I think there's one big cell with like half of them in, and then another cell with like another half of them in, and like four other prisoners like cowering at the other side, like right next to the bars, just like,
Really, just like
what are you
we
doing?
didn't sign up for this
Help!
one. Uh, yeah, but as the people are filtering out the room before she goes to see the like cages,
Mm,
as she's leaving, she turns around and asks Ethan, "Happened before?"
no, never.
She nods and like rushes out.
Um,
He's lying, right?
yeah, he's lying.
No time for that. Yeah, I got the sense that he was just lying about it because he wouldn't talk so much shit about Alchemist if it wasn't. Uh, yeah. I'm going to head to the cell.
Mm.
Do I see any familiar faces there, or are they like?
These are refugees, right? I think you've probably been in the like you've been in the camps a couple of days, so like whatever this was, they were already being hidden away by their families. It may be that over the days that you visited, they got moved to that village, like that little
Hmm,
square.
right there.
But like you don't have connections there, right?
Yeah, I was just wondering if the kid was there,
The
or they
kid's not
didn't
there.
find
He's
him.
I guess they assumed he was dead, right? And then just didn't go back in the house. Um, like the Cassie was like wailing enough and like making enough noise that they could have assumed he was dead and just not gone back in. Like
Right.
the commander made the wrong decision there, right? Um,
Shit, I'm gonna. Yeah. Okay. She goes up to like one of the cells,
mm,
and she's like dragged a seat with her
mm.
and sits down. My
Yeah, I
name.
think three or four of the people inside the cell are like looking at you with these green eyes, and then a couple of them like are just like sat there staring at the floor. Um,
My name is Putri Minang Surya Bulan. I understand you are currently afraid you have been put in a difficult situation. From what I have heard, we're infected with this disease. If I am to help you, I will need information from you so that I may correctly diagnose it and devise a cure.
one of them like opens their mouth to try and respond, and like instead of like words coming out, they like this mixed uncoordinated hissing noises, right? Um, and you can see that they're inside their mouth. They seem to have like half teeth, half fangs, and their tongue is like t- twisted and thin, and they're having trouble moving their lips. This person. Um,
Right.
and others of them are looking at you like you can tell that like others of them have let this problem less, right? There's a couple of them where their mouths haven't been touched by these scales, but like the one who immediately tries to respond to you just like
And
can't.
Would any of the others speak up? She's pausing for like effect here, so like everything sinks in before she moves on to the next point.
Yeah, I think they wait. I think they seem wary of you.
I need to know when this started. How long has it been?
One of them, says 3 weeks for me, and another one says a month.
When was the first you heard of it?
I think they kind of look at you blankly.
Surely someone knows. Very well.
Who'd talk about something like this?
Have to. You were all there. I need to know details of where you've all been. What kind of places, things you have done. This must have spread from somewhere.
You can see like one of them who the one who gave you the answer in like 3 weeks is like you see like a bead of sweat drop down their forehead, and they're like, I've been uh, looked after by my daughter, her husband, and before that I was walking a long way, and before that I was, and like they're like kind of
They're too out of it to be able to
they're
answer.
too out of it. Like I think the issue here is that these people are just are quite sick.
Hmm. Yeah.
They're not able to
Like be able to provide
string too much together, right?
lucid information out of.
Yeah, I think you can like even from here you can see that like more than one of them is sweating, more than one of them looks feverish. Like yeah, even aside from the weird changes, they look quite ill.
I'm going to need somebody to provide me a sample. I'm not going to pretend it will not hurt, but it will help with my research.
No one volunteers.
Yeah, I was gonna say you will be provided with like suitably numbing, like a numbing mixture.
Um, no one volunteers. If you really want to make a roll here, you can.
Mm, yeah, I'm gonna try making a roll first, and then we'll move on
Okay.
from there.
So failure will be that when you have to order the soldiers to hold someone down, they're going to resist violently, rather than like resisting in a like ill person, I'm
I'm
sick
sick
kind of
way.
way.
All right,
Um,
that's a good failure.
or you can just sit here and be like, yeah, no, let's get the soldiers in.
No, I'm doing that first.
Okay. Uh,
What's their will like, Ollie? They're pretty sick,
um,
aren't they?
they're pretty sick. I feel like we're looking at a high two here. Um,
I might even be able to pull that off. You never know. Alright, base up 2, double to 4. I've got 4 dice in persuasion. Easy, easy, easy. There's where all the 6s have been hiding.
Nice,
And I've opened persuasion.
nice, nice. Um, you opened it too quickly though.
It's true.
Should have wasted just like 2 sessions. Um,
Taking too long.
mm, I think the one who's like not able to speak properly, um, like they kind of you saw their eyes lose focus a bit, like while you were saying those other questions, but they managed to like they're like blinking, like someone who's having a hard time keeping their eyes open, but they raise a hand and like and manage to push themselves to their feet, and then sort of stand there swaying slightly in the center of the room. From behind you, like what a couple of the guys in the other cell are shouting, like "Hey, alchemist, alchemist, help us get out of this cell! You said they're infectious. We don't want to die."
Unfortunately, you have been in contact with them.
You can't leave us in here.
Actually, I can. I understand this is quite distressing. We can
Yeah,
move you to a different cell, but you will have to stay here.
one of them starts swearing at you, calling you like a foreign whore. And another one is like um like just begging you, like, yes, move us, move us. We don't want to be in the cell with these monsters. Move us.
Yeah, I called the
Wait,
guards
guards.
in. It's not conducive anyway to keep everybody in 2 cells.
Yeah.
I hope they have more.
They shuffle some of the other prisoners around and manage to find and like get this cell empty. Like there's still some spare space up here, like enough that they've got a gap um between those prisoners and these ones, and then everyone else as well. But like, if there's like if there's a riot in the city or something, they'll run out of space in this jail. Um,
Yeah, good situation all around. Okay, let's do this then. Is there a test here, or do I get a sample?
um, yeah. So, do you go like you open the cell up and go in and take the sample, or like
Yeah.
yeah. So what are you like? What bit of them are you cutting off
They have
to test?
claws.
Yeah, and like scaly bits.
So, so I'm thinking you're gonna need something from the skin. You're gonna need something from like the claws,
Mm, okay.
but also you'll probably need something actually human.
Yeah. Um,
Yeah.
Give me 1 second. Um, you don't have the taxidermy skill, and I wrote the taxidermy skill into the game as a way of taking antecedents out of stuff. To be honest, I'm not
Hey,
entirely sure
hey,
about that.
Ollie.
Yo.
Guess who does have the taxidermy skill?
Oh, your good friend, Tepiani.
Wait, hang on. What happened to his taxidermy skill?
Did he have it, or did he
I thought
not?
he had it. I guess he doesn't. I forgot to give it to him. Oh well.
Uh, oh well.
Guess I'm gonna have to
Yeah,
do it.
yeah. honestly, like this whole hack, like I am unsure on huge parts of it. I think um I definitely should have rolled. Like there should just be one skill for taking antecedents. But even if there is only one skill for taking antecedents,
It's
you don't have
separate
it.
from alchemy.
Yeah, it's separate from alchemy. You don't have it, right? It's
Alright, it's fine. We can always learn new skills
yeah.
by doing them badly. Yeah.
So this will affect the quality of the quality of the antecedent you take from this. You're still going to be able to you're still going to be able to do research on this. But like if you want to use this as an antecedent for something else, then in fact no, let's not make the
because
like if you want to use
because
this for something else, like if you want to use this
I'm
to
not
perform an alchemical transmutation at some point, then you have to make a taxidermy roll. At this point, we're not going to bother, right?
good. Okay.
We're like yeah. So you like you cut some pieces of this person off of them, and they like well, I think you sit them down on the first, and then you like um make some cuts and bandage them up a bit afterwards.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think you probably take a sample of their blood as well.
Of course.
Yeah, that's pretty easy to get given what you're doing. Um,
Yeah. Alright.
they yeah, when you're finished, they like they sort of move away. Like actually they just stay where they're sat. They don't have the energy to move. They just sort of sit there.
Hmm. Okay. I am getting out of this particular room because I need to start sorting out whatever is causing this.
Mm.
So, I have parts of this disease.
Yep.
I want to like think she's probably like gotten someone to move her entire like workshop over here.
Yeah, I think like you've made that request, and then Etan has relayed it, and there's I think there's another of I think the alchemist you saw with Etan like several days ago, who was just standing around the room talking about something else, like when you walked in the first time, he's actually like in the room here like now, making sure that everything is set up as it should be.
Making sure the procedures are being followed, making sure the guards that were like taking the
Yeah,
prisoners
yeah,
were
yeah.
like are still in quarantine and guarding this location
Yeah,
instead.
he's mostly dealing with this quarantine stuff, right? He's taking like there's some of the like he's sorted out. You can see down one end of the room, um, sat all together but like separate for the moment is the group of guards who brought these people up and the officer. And him and a couple of other officers are discussing where to put these people. That's like separate from everyone else because they need to quarantine them, but they don't want to move them through the
Jail
city too
them, right?
much
Yeah.
because yeah, they don't want to jail them. Um, yeah.
Okay. Uh, what what even is this test? I imagine like there is a series of procedures whereby you can sort of break down and discover traits of an antecedent, right?
Yep.
Yeah, instead of using it to like imbue
Yeah, so
something.
listed on this hack, there is identifying traits. The obstacle to identify the traits of a creature or substance using symbology skill are as follows: character traits 1, colons 2, die traits 3.
I
Um,
forgot that was a thing.
yeah, so you are trying to um, like I think we can either call this process a use of that function of the alchemy skill, right? And say like we are trying to identify specific traits within this. Or we can do the more sensible thing and just say this is an alchemy roll against a certain obstacle to determine information, because
Yeah, that's what I want.
yeah,
Identifying the trait itself doesn't really help me.
doesn't
I need.
doesn't help you, yeah, because
I
you're not
know
trying
what
to
it
use this for antecedent.
does.
Yeah, we know what it does. We're not trying to use it for antecedents, which means that we can kind of skip a lot of the like systems focused part of the system,
Just
and
use
just
skills.
use the skill. Um, I think this is this is a test where like I think there's actually like okay, how am I gonna? Yeah, just give me a second here. So what's the first? What are you trying to? What are you trying to discover primarily? Right. What's the number one thing you're trying to work out?
How it will spread.
How it's spread. Okay. Um.
Like that's priority number one. Figure out how it spread, and then like
Yeah.
so we can stop it or like reduce the risk of that happening. And then like step two is like, okay, I guess it's time to devise a countermeasure.
Okay. I think this is ob 5, and failure is you can't work out how it spread, right?
Okay. Let's do this. I have an alchemy roll of 5.
Mm.
I'm gonna add 1 from apothecary. I'm going to add 1 from astrology. I'm going to add 1 from cercination. I'm going to add 1 from symbology.
Yep.
And that is the total sum of dice I can add from forks. Not missing any. Nope.
Mm.
And then I am going to, you know what? I got 2%. I want this to succeed. I'm going to spend 2% on this. And the base obstacle is 5.
Mm.
Alright. What the fuck is this trash? 2 successes? I'm spending a fate.
Yep, yep. Reroll a dice.
Ah.
Wow,
Oof,
so that's like
this hurts.
2 successes on 12 dice. That does hurt. Yeah, so you're like you're looking at this disease, um you're looking for specific signs and methods by which like signals that this would be communicable by different methods, and you try a bunch of different tests and you try a bunch of different processes and you just can't work it out. And like I think there's like there's moments where you're just convinced that you've done things wrong and you try them again and they just don't produce any result. Like you have no clue how this spreads at all. Um, but you can still like there's still space to learn more about the disease itself, right? How it's going to progress. Like, is it going to be fatal to these people? And then like the potential of working on a cure is another separate thing you could still do. But like, I don't think you can like
I can't
you
touch the.
can't work out how it's spread. You could still follow that up by different means, right?
Right. Like if I find a person who made it, bring it out of them.
Or just like ask the same questions to different people, like you were asking earlier, to different people, right? Because those are still useful questions to work out how
Right.
disease spreads. It's just you need to ask them with someone who can actually give you an answer
Answered
properly and isn't
lucidly.
like feverish and like forgetting what they're talking. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's like he probably spends a day or two on this. Like, what are you thinking in terms of like time frame for this?
Um, yeah, I think your attempt to find out how it spread takes you through the evening, right? Um, I think it's late at night when you like hang up tools and um I think the other alchemist, Artemin comes back in. He's been dealing with other things, and he's like, okay, treat me as a sounding board. Let's go through everything you've done. Let's just talk it through, try and work out
Control
if you've
tests.
yeah.
What did I miss?
He quizzes you a bit. He quizzes you a bit, and like occasionally he's like, "Are you sure you did that right? Like that's not a hard test. It should have showed something." Um, and you're like, no, 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 it showed nothing. Of course I did it right. Um, yeah. So you make your way back to your house. Um, I think
I,
I think Tepiani
no,
like stops you as you're about to leave. He's like,
I'm
maybe
not
we
going
should.
home.
Yeah. Oh, hang on. Sorry. Yeah, I'll let you leave the scene. Uh,
But she is still leaving.
okay.
So like if Tepiani steps in, this is a good time to step in.
Yeah, I think Tepiani says maybe it's best we don't go back. I mean, if this is infectious, then maybe we should quarantine ourselves. I don't remember much of. I mean, I wasn't trained in the same way an officer is, but everyone gets a bit.
I need to speak to the woman who was in charge of this. She was taking care of them. She will know the most. And right now she's not here.
It's getting late.
Exactly.
But
If I picked any other time, the guards would follow.
I'll go and find someone to take us through the city.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yep.
He manages to like there's still someone who's offering I think they're like he finds someone he recognizes for who's like helps you travel around earlier in the week um and eventually he convinces them for like a way larger payment than they usually take that they'll take you along to the refugee camp at this time of night. This person is like incredibly suspicious of you. Like they're they keep making comments the whole time. Is like I've heard there was monsters taken from this camp. You wouldn't happen to know anything about that, would you?
Oh, I do.
Like I'll be making like he shuts up. Like look, I'll be telling the soldiers about this.
Do. All right.
He shuts up again.
Give me 1 second.
Cool.
We'll take a 5 minute break and we'll come back.
Yep. Actual break. Yeah.
Oh, I did that in the
Okay.
wrong order. Oh well.
Yeah.
Uh,
Um.
what I did want
So
to
Suria.
say was, I feel like Surya would probably have made a bigger fuss about actually trying to like get this guy to shut up.
Yeah. Okay.
So maybe when he's saying like, "I'll tell the guards," he says something to the effect of, "If I did know something about these others, you really cross me."
He shoots Tepiani like the dirtiest look. Um. Yeah. It's like he does not want to be punting you along this river, but he's been paid. He has been paid. Damn it. Um. He stops talking. I don't think he talks again for the rest of the way.
That's fair.
Um. And like as you arrive on the island, you hear him like talking to like Tepiani behind you. Is like what's wrong with her? Like, is she really? Are you really something to do with this? Like, come on, man. Tell me what's going on. I don't want to just hang around. I don't want to hang around here in the middle of the refugee camp. I'm gonna get eaten by monsters all of a sudden. And then Tepiani's like behind you, like reassuring the guy, just like, don't worry, don't worry. I'll be here. Like, I've got a gun. See, like, we're all
Don't you
okay.
know? All the monsters were taken to the city. Like she as she walks away.
Yeah, this doesn't reassure him at all. Um, yeah. So I think you walk into this little circle of houses. I think there's not really anyone left awake, right? There's no one outside.
Hmm. I'm going to the house where Cassie. Is it
Cassie
Cassie
Suri,
or Cassie?
Cassie, yeah,
Suri was staying. Huh?
Cassie,
Empty?
sorry.
Sorry.
Um, yeah. Yes, yes, I think that's a good idea, Lee. Thank you. Yes. She has. There's signs that she's like left in a hurry. And moved some of her stuff and her son out and away somewhere else.
Is there any clue where they went? Maybe a like train ticket?
um, yeah. Actually, no, I think that's bullshit.
Like
like
it's
I
very
no, I think
logical.
you walk in and you see her like you see her um like packing some stuff, right?
Hmm.
Looking through to the other room, like that other room is already empty. But she's back here like putting stuff away, like taking stuff that she'd spread out from boxes to use to cook and repacking it all to move. Um, I think she looks up at you and she as you walk through the door, she like yells, and then sees who you are in the like
Like
dim light of like I think she maybe has like one small oil lamp that she's
hmm.
using. Um Sur Suria Bulan. I'm I'm just packing.
I figured I need to be quick. I need information.
Sure. Whatever.
You've been taking care of these. When did it start?
Some of them have been sick for a while, but this stuff only started happening a month or so ago, after we arrived.
Were they
My son
all sick?
was. My son is sick. Part of the journey, he got sick, a fever. I expected him to get better. We had bad food, bad conditions. I thought setting up somewhere dry, keeping him would make him better, but well, he got better a bit and then he got worse, and this started happening.
Everyone who got it was from the trip and stayed around here?
One trip or another, and all over the camp, but we've been moving them. Families don't want to let these things get known, so it took us a while to talk things through with different people. Let them know it wasn't just them.
Were they
I
all
wanted to hide it.
sick?
I don't know. Maybe. I know. I know Nor was. He was on the same caravan as me. He got sick maybe a week, 2 weeks after my son. And then I heard about an old man in a different camp. They had a funeral, but they didn't let anyone see the body.
And not all sick people turned into this, I assume. Or we will have a lot more on our hands.
There's a lot of sick people in camps. Fevers, sweats.
Any suspicious people?
Suspicious how?
The
Like
camps.
you?
Someone caused this.
You're you're the first alchemist I've seen wandering around here in the open. I've been looking after my son. Ask around, maybe someone's seen someone. But I've not heard of groups or someone who'd been here long enough to see all of the victims.
So, like, recap of information we've actually learned is this is like from multiple groups of people, right? Like coming in from different directions, not in
They're
the
all coming
same
in from
journey.
the same
Yeah,
direction, but
from
like multiple
multiple
caravans, right?
caravans.
Yeah.
So, like, it would appear the infection point is here in the camps and not just like on the journey. Because it would be rather weird if like multiple caravans suddenly got the same thing. And so far, like, all of them have been sick beforehand
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
our sample size.
Everyone who's had these symptoms was sick was sick on the journey. Yeah.
Hmm. Where are you taking him?
My aunt's house. Well, she's not my aunt, but anyway, she's got some space.
You're risking her and her family.
What am I meant to do with him? You're gonna take him and put him in prison with the rest of them? Who's gonna look after them in that jail? They're sick. They need care.
You could.
I don't speak Otson. Not more than a few words.
Need more than a few words? Water, food, clothing.
I need to look after my son. He's what's...
He's in more danger outside than he is in. You take him to his aunt. Who knows when people get too... Who knows when people will panic?
If you hear anything about that... Oh, I'll never get a chance. Well, what do you want? You want me to put my boy in prison? Go and work and be go and be spat at and kicked by those bots and soldiers
I'm not
after
gonna pretend.
living quarantine myself up there?
Not going to pretend it will be easy. All I'm saying, it might be easier than what you're planning.
You've got some sway up there. Why don't you ask them to let them out? Come down here. They can still guard them down here, but we can
It's
take care of them
too
as well.
dangerous to move them again. Who knows who has gotten the disease from this way up? You want me to bring them back down? Come back with me. We'll be safer.
Come back tomorrow. You can explain yourself to to the others.
There are more. Just
There are probably more. I don't know. We haven't managed to find everyone. I told you it's slow. Everyone, something like this happens, you just want to hide it. We don't want to.
I understand.
All of us came fleeing south for a reason. Understand? We've seen things. And now it looks like the people that we know and love. It's not the same thing. I could tell that straight away, and I've been talking to people quietly for a while now, making sure no one gets. Well, there's more than a few of those people that you've got in your cells whose families don't want to hear about them anymore, who've been saying they died on the road, or they died of sickness afterwards, or that they've lost them, or that they've gone to stay in another camp to get well. Well, this is in the camp, someone
Ollie, like you're cutting out a bit here.
breaking up.
Yep. You want to
Can you hear
redo the
me?
call? Yeah, I can hear you now.
I can hear you.
Sort of like stuttery. Talk a bit more.
Are we okay?
I think we are now.
Are we good? Yes. Yeah. So where did I get up to there?
It was right after the monsters. Like they're different. I told people they're different. That bit.
Okay. Yeah, I told people that they're different. If there are more of them in the camps, if there's people hiding sick family. Now that this has happened, now that they've been put in prison, if what you're saying is true, then I need to be down here helping talk to people more than I need to be up there taking care of them. But you need to come back tomorrow and talk to the others. I can't do this all on my own. And they need to. Well, someone does need to take care of them. And if you can't do it, then we'll have to. Someone. Some of us will have to.
I'll come back tomorrow. And we'll see what we can do. We're good at cut there. I'm not sure if I'm like missing something is the trick.
Hello?
Hello? You cut out?
No, I just heard you say, I'm not sure if I'm like, and then you just stopped talking.
And then I said like I feel like I'm missing something here.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, failing the role on how it's been communicated means that it's now just like a tough puzzle
Gotcha.
to work
Yeah.
out. Yeah, like
I guess I'll just have to think about it. There's a whole week to do that.
um yeah, I think if you want to like there's various ways around the let it ride as well. So you could get someone else to look at the problem. Like you could get if you get another competent alchemist, for example, if you ask Kana in and get her to check it over, like that would be enough of a separation
Difference.
between that there'd be another opportunity, right? And you could help her on her role.
Hmm.
Um, I think yeah, I think going for Zakatli's guy wouldn't be interesting enough, right? So I'd ask you not to ask to do that because like you
Sorry,
could do
going
that,
for
but
what? Oh, Zakatli is
the
in the alchemist, the
sorry
other alchemist.
sorry the not Zakatli. That's a completely different guy. Sorry. Go for Irtan's pet alchemist would be like I don't think that's interesting enough. So
Hmm.
I'd just say like
We already went
in
for that,
advance
right?
in advance of that scene, like I should have given you a helping dice for him. Um, but like
Wouldn't
it
have
wouldn't have made
mattered.
a difference.
Fucking
Um, yeah.
dice rolls, man.
um,
Brutal.
yeah. Or you could just study it in a different way. You could like intentionally try and expose someone to the disease, see how it goes across. You could like if you want to make a more detailed expose of the I've given you the information that you'll get, but like we could make a roll to see if like Suria works it out, even if Lee can't, right? Because this is a
Right, like, so what I kind of figure is like, this is my grand theory right now, right? It's
yeah,
like,
okay,
uh, either this is a carrier like situation where like the orcs from no, that was specifically ruled out, sorry.
mm,
So that's not what's happening. What's happening is someone has infected the people here,
mm,
and people who are sick are more what's it called, susceptible to it.
yeah.
Like, that's my working theory right now. Uh, that's it. Like, I'm super tired, so like I'm not particularly clearly either. Maybe I'll go back and watch a video and just be like, Ali, you're a fucking idiot. But I
Like
doubt it.
Ollie, you've lied to me, or you've cheated in some way, or like you've got it wrong, or this is so obvious I can't believe you've called this a challenge. Yeah, something like that. Uh,
Cool. Should we cut there?
let's cut there.
Go to Arta then. I did both of these. Bit. I get two fate.
Um,
So
so let's
showing the
look at the
priest
beliefs.
showing the priest the error in their interpretation. They'll allow me access to temple vault. Done that. Bit. In the sense that I get a fate for it.
Is talking to Akatli, right? Or doing something aggressive, um,
Yeah,
or
like my next
or
bit is
interesting.
literally like right underneath that one. I've written a bit about like expose Akatli's lies.
Yeah.
I'm probably gonna shift tack after this session because it seems like if I can just get an in with Ethan, that'll work out too.
Hmm. I will point out, Ethan in his first conversation did say like temple matters should be left to the like his stated position back when you first met was like I'm handing off control of the city to Akatli, and control of the temple is down to the priests. I don't officially have a role in anything.
Right.
So like if you would have to have a pretty big in, right? For
Yeah.
him to overrule that position and say like actually we're doing things how like in a different way.
Yeah, because
You'd
like
have to
my in
you,
here is there's a fucking public health
it would
emergency.
it would be big leverage plus a bit like plus a roll, right? That
For
it's
sure.
there's no situation where you succeed enough on like even if you
Roll to
succeed
make it
enough
work.
on everything else, right, you still need a roll to persuade him otherwise, right? Yeah.
Yeah, the trick here is like you're kind of dealing with a crisis right now, and you need
Yes.
crisis
Yeah.
measures.
Yeah.
Like, and is yeah, I guess my question is that enough leverage, or like is
You could make a play for it being enough leverage, right? There's
yeah,
at any point you can just turn around and say like I am going to put half truths together and half supposition together, and I'm going to say whatever is causing this problem is coming from the vault. We need to go inside, and like that can be like it's up to you when to make that attempt, and like it doesn't really matter like. The more truth you include, like if you have a giant thread that like just
this
points
points
directly,
back to it.
that will give you a lot of bonus dice.
Hmm.
At this point, you're probably looking at like one or two, maybe.
Look,
Um,
it has ingredients in it that could help. Just
no,
say, my
no, I think at the
dude.
moment it's like one very pitiful solitary because like there is nothing leading this to the vault
Yeah, exactly.
currently. Um,
I need to go try the white bark. Like, try white bark on this disease and see what happens.
mm,
It's supposed to be a purifier, so who knows?
mm.
Alright. It would be very funny if I cured the disease and like still
Just
couldn't
give
figure
them
out who.
something else horrible.
No, I just cured the disease but never figured out who did it.
Yeah, that would be even funnier. Um,
That'd be a mess.
yeah, and then you've also like I kind of brushed you off on the like um I think there's another role there, but like I feel like that takes more time than just talking to one person, right? I think
The
um
roll on what?
it is there is another role possible on like who spread this like is there someone walking around the
Right.
refugee camp doing something sinister? Like I
You need to
think
talk to the
it
community.
is undoubtedly true that there is not a group, there is not a person who's been there
Oh, you cut up again.
way,
Yeah.
right?
Wait, stop,
If
stop,
someone
stop. Go back, rewind to the bit where you were talking about like undoubtedly true that there was a group.
it's undoubtedly true that there wasn't like a big group of people who were like very out of place, right? Or like one
Just
person
fucking
who's
out
very
there.
out of place who spent a long time there. Like, um, if someone did come here and like spread something, or like do something, then it was it was probably one person, or it was a single event, or it was done subtly. Like,
It would be
yeah,
hard
like
to find that lead via the community, but it's possible.
yeah, and it would more importantly, it would actually be a via the community. So you'd have like there would be time laid aside to do that, and you'd have to be talking like the narrative would have to be talking to more than one person, right?
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Knowledge is the only end. Everything else is merely a means to it.
Uh,
And
so
Ollie, hang on, Ollie.
sorry.
Let's restart this call just for this bit because I can't hear
Cool.
you either.
That's fine. That's fine. You in?
I'm in.
You turned your camera on?
Yep, my camera's
Nice.
always on. Not on for you
Okay. Oh yeah, yeah,
because
of
it's
course.
stuck. It's stuck on
Yeah.
the stream. All right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where were we?
um,
Knowledge is the only end.
knowledge is the only end. Everything else is only a means to it. Um, I
I
feel
feel
like you
like
could have played this harder. You could have
I
been more.
definitely could have played into it like more of a jackass, but also
Yeah.
like you don't have to start with a jackassery. Is like my default
Mm,
position.
mm.
And my rolls back me up there at least, if not anywhere
Mm.
else.
I was looking forward to you like just I was hoping you'd just like skip the role and be like, oh yeah, we're just gonna like brutalize one of these people.
No.
Um
Spat for building
but
trust, Ollie. You need trust to get
you did
information
build
out of
trust.
people.
I feel like you can take a fate here, right? I
For
feel like
what?
Yeah, maybe not. I was
Right?
gonna say like maybe you can take a fate hit, but like actually you just got lucky in the situations where where you otherwise would have pushed further, right? You got lucky. Um,
Exactly. I think like there was a different version of this where like she basically took the sample of the dying kid.
She's like, well, you seem ill.
How convenient.
But on the plus side, like I'm no longer treating Kisasari as it's like Kasisari as someone who's hostile to you, right?
Hopefully that pays off at some point.
Mm.
Kind of has already.
It has already.
My belief special is mark steel like a bunch, because I don't know, give me my steel tests for all those fights, monsters.
um, let's go to the steel section. So it goes resources, circles, steel. Hang on, no. Steel, resources, circles. There we are. Ob2 routine. Do anything for you?
Nope,
No.
I'm too cool.
So we're looking for 4 or 5, I guess.
Yep.
Is 3 difficult on 5?
No, I don't think so.
No, no.
My instincts tell me no.
Um,
4 or 5.
so we take an Ob 4 for encountering anthropomorphic
Didn't I roll
monsters.
that one though? I guess we
I
did
guess you did
multiple
roll
times,
that one.
but we also did it
Yeah,
like
we
multiple
show it
times.
multiple times. Yeah. So I think that counts. That's a tick on 1 there. Um,
Basically a natural disaster.
I think you only take 1.
Yeah, yeah, I know.
Yeah,
It's okay. Next one I take, I'll go up to 6 steel.
nice. Um, cool. I think that's it. Oh no, it's not it. We haven't looked
I
at
haven't done instincts.
the rest of them. Instincts. Always share my knowledge with the ignorant.
Did do that.
You didn't do that. There was the opportunity to tell
Uh,
people like meaningless knowledge that they didn't need, but would have made
no,
them very distressed. Um,
no, I did do it. The dude in the boat was like, "Oh, I heard there's some monsters around." I'm like, "Yeah, there are monsters around."
that was a cool incidental scene,
Yeah, you could get me in
but
trouble for that.
but it's an incidental scene. So unfortunately, it didn't have enough stakes attached to it in the first place. And like as much as I love turning like you're right, you were inviting me to turn that into a scene with more stakes, but I just actually wanted to finish the session.
Yeah.
So if you want to earn fate from something, you've got to push your instinct in a moment where like you actually think that there's a chance I'll respond. Um, right? Because just saying like okay, I wake up in the morning and I tell the owner of my house absolutely everything I've learned so far. Like
So
that's hilarious, and they're gonna panic. But like, are we
the
really going to find you a new house to live in?
the
Because
reason why I thought there might have been stakes there was a question of like, okay, she's doing this at night. She's
yeah,
clearly hasn't notified the guards that she's doing this.
yeah.
And it's behavior that might get me in trouble down the road. Right? It's the kind of thing where like tomorrow if I go out again, are guards coming with me?
Oh,
Or
to be
yeah,
honest,
you see what I mean?
you're right. I will mark this down as a like Suria's suspicious behavior clock. Only I'm not actually making a clock. I'm just saying Suria's suspicious behavior. Yeah, nice. I'm also going to note. I don't think like it's odd. This is a thing that I mentioned a couple of sessions ago, but like I've not had the I've not taken the opportunity to introduce this as a thing that's actually happened yet, and so I think Tepiani's just been waiting for some reason. Like he's not had the chance to go and do it, but he wanted to go and gamble with Etan and
Itan.
then like raise the whole topic of retrieving Tiltson's corpse from the temple. I think that's not a thing I've forgotten about. It's
It's
just
just a thing
I
that's in the background
I've
now.
missed the opportunity to like bring it up as a like, okay, during this 3 days, Tepi only comes
Goes
back
into
with the results of this conversation.
mm.
And so it's still like I'm gonna bring that out at some point, right? Um, um, yeah, but
Okay.
like when? That's the question. Not
That's
quite
a
yet.
trick, right? Like, because if you're Tepiani, you're thinking like, all right, he's not gonna show up in a card game anytime soon, given the current situation.
No, I mean like I don't have to worry about that because like he's like Tepiani's gonna pick a day that
Yeah,
Itan's
yeah, yeah, of
gonna
course, but
be
like
doing cards.
the narrative space for that
No,
is
no, no, no.
constrained by the emergency.
As in, if Tipiani does pick a day that he's like,
He'll
okay,
show
I'm
up.
gonna go and see if he's there, then like Itan's gonna be like, oh, I'm so stressed. I need to just
Play the
relieve some
card.
stress by beating people at cards, or something stupid. Like the the advantage of this is that Tepiani is genuinely making a decision that feeds into Lucky, and so he can't fail.
Hmm.
Um, and like also it's off-screen action. Who cares? Um, like let's just have it happen at a time that's
Happen.
convenient. Doesn't have to make perfect sense.
Yeah, it's
Um,
just like the narrative space, right? Like
hmm.
you could add this conversation in halfway
Yeah,
through the
so
crisis, but it's like
there isn't space tonight because you're both out, right? Tomorrow night, if you're not doing anything, there's space, right?
I feel
Um,
like the next few days are gonna take a while to resolve.
They are going to. We're probably going to be like we've skipped over about a week, and we're going to be focusing right down on the action.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
Always demand the respect that is due. My hang on, I need to take that fate first. There's a clock
yeah, you
for
do.
it now. No fucking persona. I can't believe my persona just betrayed me like that. Yeah.
You really did dump everything into that role. I am just really sad for you.
It was a sad role. It happens. But now we've got a weird and more interesting story.
Mm,
I'm not gonna get persona for a bit though, I suspect. I'll have to
mm.
write my beliefs very carefully. Uh Always demand the respect that is due my lineage and never turn down the opportunity to collect rare entities. Yeah, so like this would have been like what I argued for if I just like, oh, I see a dying child here. Hmm,
I really
that's
wish you'd
pretty
done that.
rare.
I really wish you'd done that. Oh no.
Like this is sort of the tension of the character I'm still trying to figure out, right?
Mm.
Between being a normal person and being a person who's just like, yes, consequence. There are no consequences, really.
Yeah. I think I think the moments where we see you really making that decision and saying like genuinely like doing something bad and then like if you do something bad like please flag that conversation to me by have like talking to Tepiani or like I will try and remember to have Tepiani talk to you because
Hmm.
like he's meant to be the
He's the foil.
why are you doing that like because then the conversation that we get afterwards that's where we tag the persona on the knowledge is the owner end, right? Like is like we specifically explore the reason that you're
The
doing,
reason behind.
and we have you justify yourself in the fiction, which we haven't really seen, right? Um, I mean, I
Hasn't
think
had to
it's one of
yet.
so it's one of your strengths as a GM. That like you're way stronger at than I am is doing challenge on a philosophical stand rather than just on a like challenging on a narrative and challenging on a like things being interesting and complicated, right? Because I feel like I'm okay at that. But like having someone walk up to the character and being like, "Hey, why are you acting this way?" is not a thing that is a natural or like it's not the first thing I think of doing, right? Um,
I think part of it is also like the characters we ended up playing,
hmm,
right? Especially in the one where you were playing like a military general. Like he was acting in ways which were like very obviously. It's the sort of actions which can be called out easily.
Yeah.
Compared
And
to like
we also spent some time thinking about the philosophy of the character, and we went into the game very hot off the back of that, right? Um, and for your character, like the thing that we need to be focusing on in that terms is this like knowledge is the only end, and everything else is a means to it. Like I need to push some more opportunities for you to just get forbidden knowledge. Like
yeah,
honestly, honestly, look at the start of the next session. Um, I'm gonna call out a bang already. Yeah, Diane Enku definitely sending you a letter being like, "Hey, I I know many things about this city. Do you wanna do you wanna have some information for totally free?"
weirdly enough, she'd probably take that offer up like super easily.
Yeah. I might do that. I might not.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Because like Suria would definitely be the kind of person who's like, "Oh yeah, it's free. Yeah, you said it's free, so it must be
Oh,
free."
no, it wouldn't be for free, right?
Yeah,
I would have her make an approach and say like, I will give you information in exchange for something,
yeah,
right?
it's yeah. I think like there's my immediate reaction to that would be to play the like double game here. Because I've already got a goal to destroy her entire organization.
Yes. I mean, it's not completely confirmed. It's not
It's pretty
actually
fucking
confirmed.
confirmed.
It's possible.
Entirely possible. So possible that it's basically true.
Yeah. Okay. Traits.
Traits. Aggressive.
I'm gonna give you Fate for Imperious because like the aggressive wasn't as big a deal as you just trying to tell people what to do and failing. And the
Having no.
situation, like if you had dealt with the situation in a different way, then it could have gone a lot like you just dealt with it in a way that you're just bad at doing, right?
I mean, I here's the thing. I don't think I have a good way to deal with it.
You did. You mentioned that you'd spent some time making like alchemy, like general defensive alchemy stuff, right? So you had like we have narrative space for you to like throw down a flashbang or something, or like tunnel the air into like fog or
I've written them up. They're really simple and completely not crazy.
nice.
Glue, you know? Glue's really good.
You just glue everywhere. I am going to turn the floor into glue.
The place to turn floors into. Yeah.
Yeah.
I went through so much fate tonight, but today, but also mainly that was because I had so much fate. I was like, eh.
Anything else?
No, I don't think so. So all we have left is earning Arta.
Yeah, so earning Arthur, humor. I laughed at what you did at one moment. I think that was at the like I can't remember exactly what it was. Oh yeah, no, it was the like, are you gonna let us out? It's like, no, you're staying in the cells.
Yeah, I was kind of struggling of like I didn't want to make it a comedic moment, but also like it was a good line.
Yeah.
Like I immediately tried to roll back on that, but it was too late.
No, the whole point, like the whole, like I was trying to break tension there as well, right? Like I'm not feeding you that line because I'm like, oh no, this is super serious. I'm like no, this is there's there's some stupid stuff going in here as well, right? Okay. Right skill, right time. Did
Nope.
we earn it this session? No. No.
Look, there's no skill that I haven't used which will earn me right skill, right time, I doubt.
Yeah.
Because I built my character in. No, illumination. When I finally use the illumination skill or the calligraphy skill, I will get One whole fate point.
One whole fate. Lovely. Great. Okay.
I feel like that should be changed to Persona just on that basis, right? It's
I
so
feel like
rare.
right skill, right time could be Persona, but that would be a hack. It
And
would
we
make people hunt after it way too
I
aggressively
don't
though.
think they would. It's one
Mm,
persona for the
so some
rest of the
people
game.
some people would hunt after it way too aggressively, right? Based on prior games, we know players who very aggressively tried to get Fate for fire
Ditch
building,
digging.
or ditch digging, and like,
Wasn't ditch
and
digging
that
you?
no, ditch digging was me, but like fire building came up way more often. I think
Yeah.
fire building was like once per session for the several sessions. So if it was a persona and it was a normal character rather than a character that's been built for like serious specialization, then I think you'd hit that problem where some players would just be like, I know what I'm doing this session, and
I'm
it's
building
reads
a
down the list,
fire.
reads down the list, reads down the list, identifying a corpse.
Yeah, but you'd
Or
only
like
ever get it once
you'd
in
get
the
it
whole
once,
campaign.
but you get it once for each of your skills, so it would be like, oh my god, this is just gonna be like, we like, okay, I'm a soldier, it's time to go get paid,
So,
right?
so
Like,
it's like old man Jenkins.
you just pick weird
Hero
things that you're gonna do
skills.
that don't really add to the story. Like they add to the depth of the world because we see your character doing
Like
more
weird
different things they
things.
don't necessarily care about, but it doesn't
Yeah.
actually pursue beliefs. So, um,
Yeah, it's funny the first time. It starts
yeah.
growing on you. Like
Yeah,
not
so
growing
like
on
it's
you.
a
Like
hack. It's a hack that I'm like I don't think it's a bad idea in terms of balance, but I think in terms of like game flow, it's probably not a good plan. Um,
I feel like that's just having to talk. You just have to talk to your players about that one.
yeah,
I
yeah,
would. I
yeah.
would do that.
Um, embodiment. Ah, tough, but no,
Yeah, I don't. I don't feel like this session was an embodiment session.
no, it wasn't. Mold breaker, no. Workhorse.
Does failing all my roles count as workhorse? I
No.
don't. Yeah, exactly.
Workhorse is like you have a solid breakthrough series of roles, or like you just dig down and do something tough, and it's like, okay, let's recognize that you've made some nice progress here.
Because
Um,
workhorse really doesn't work as well for
it
one
doesn't
player
work as well as
games.
a one player game as well, right?
MVP still works perfectly fine.
Yeah, workhorse is meant to be like, okay, like looking at the roles of this session, you helped on every single role, and you've been giving lots of dice to every role, and like you've kind of not done anything towards your beliefs. So let's give you this gimme.
So
Yeah,
let's just give Tepiani like one workhorse point.
yeah. He doesn't. I
he
suppose
did
he
the,
deserves it.
he did
He deserves
actually.
it more this session than any other
Yeah, but
session.
that's not saying much.
Yeah,
This
he
is,
didn't
I
do that
think, the
much this
first
session.
time he gave me a helping. No, two times. He gave me
Twice.
10. Yeah, still no.
Mm.
Alright, that's all the stuff on this character sheet. When's our next session?
I believe I'm about next week. And I think, hang on, I'll just get my phone. I think next week is. Oh, you said it's Sunday, right?
Ah, yeah, it's Sunday because I've got a
Mm,
GM meetup to go to.
yeah, cool. So 8 o'clock Sunday. I will. I'm probably not going to wake up on time. So,
Do you want to just push it back a bit? Because that'll give
um,
us more
I
time to
mean,
like chat
yeah, like
and like.
we yeah like we'll just like we'll push back the start time of the thing to be like consistently slightly later, and then we'll keep it at the same time, and then I guess when daylight savings rolls around we can make another
Move it
decision of like
again.
whether to keep it at the same time or move it again. It doesn't particularly need to move.
It's mainly because like I kind of want to keep to like.
Yeah, the main reason to move it back is so we can keep some stabilization on like when it is. And the only reason that's important is because like, streaming. But yeah, yeah, it's at roughly the same time every time.
Yeah. Not this time, but this time was because we decided like I'm dead, so we need to start.
Yeah, it was a bit later, right? It was a half an hour later or something, right?
Yeah, 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
It wasn't that bad.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Cool.
Signing
Let's
off.
end the stream here.
I'm just gonna shout out my Twitter, which has chovo tweets
Nice.
at yamiyugi.com. Yamiyugi, is that how you do Twitter? At
Retweeted
yamiyugi,
by
but not.
the famous internet DM.
He didn't even retweet me.
Oh,
He just liked
what?
me.
Oh, you just like this way. I was never a retweet.
That's YAMIYUGIE, not yummy, not YUMMY. All right, I'm gonna press the button once I find it.